just don't get it when there's nothing at all. We get together, it's separate, so it's better when there's feelings involved. And we see that love is forever. The one makes love the exception.
Flynn Vassens just subscribed.
What's up, Flynn? What's going on?
Miguel Dobby said top 5 and okay. Flynn Vassens said read the milestone message.
Oh, what's your opinion on Crunchables? Also, I'm going to make another squiggly art when I get home. Okay. I don't know what Uncrunchables is. Is that some type of food? Or a snack or something?
BROCOI said passive mids.
Do you push into constant aching each and every day? Do you wish that you loved me?
I don't know what that means.
BROCOI said those mitts are passive. Flynn Vassens said Uncrustables I mean. They peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that go in children lunches.
You mean Lunchables? What the fuck is Uncrunchables? I have never heard of that. I've never heard of that. I've heard of Lunchables and that Logan Paul snack, but I never heard of Uncrunchables. I never heard of that before. Is that new?
BROCOI said huge passive mitts. Flynn Vassens said no. They're Uncrustables.
I don't know what those things. I don't know. Can't give you opinion since I didn't know what it was in the first place. To be honest. I'm just now hearing about this for the first time. That name, so I can't really put a review on that.
Flynn Vassens said look him up.
Yeah, but if I look it up, but I don't know how they taste. Is this based on taste? Like, have I ever had them before?
Corvid Sandcrow says make a girl my beast be.
BROCOI said what are your favorite fruits? I love dingleberries. Flynn Vassens said if you've never heard of them, you've never eaten them. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Never heard of them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I've never heard of them, I can't give my opinion on them. Unless you're asking me about what the packaging looks like or some shit. Do you wish that you loved me? Do you wish that you loved me? Do you wish that you loved me? Oh, do you wish that you loved me?
Flynn Bassett said, "Nah, I was asking about taste."
Yeah, I never had them if I never heard of them. So I can't give you a review on that. Sorry. Okay, put the stock here.
Flynn Bassett asks, "Did you see the line art version of my squiggly yuck?" DeAndre Jr. said, "Hey, do you remember me?"
From the one from like the other day? The one that looks like Dracula? Or something brand new? I think I remember you.
Flynn Bassett said, "Yeah." DeAndre Jr. said, "The one that was Jujutsu Kaisen edited."
A lot of people come in every day, bro. I'm pretty sure I might remember you. I think I remember the name. Not to sound rude or anything. But I'm pretty sure if you was here when I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm pretty sure you was here before. I think.
Flynn Bassett said, "I did the line art to get the 10 out of 10.
Sweet. Wait, you want me to go look at it?
Flynn Bassett said, "Yeah."
Alright, I'll go check in a second. Give me a second.
Yes, I agree. Flynn Bassett said, "Cute."
Where did you post this?
Chris 825 2.0 said, "Hi."
Hello, how goes it?
Flynn Bassett said, "Artwork."
Okay, hold on.
Bassett said I replied to it so you don't have to scroll.
Are you talking about this? Is this one, right?
Flynn Bassett said yes.
Okay. I see. Pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Excuse me. Pretty cool, bro. Don't lie. What's its name anyway? I don't think I ever gave a name. Okay. Nah, I'm not doing that right now.
Flynn Bassett said, oh, great question.
Just have you heard the news that Monster Hunter
Flynn
has
Bassett
mixed
said I didn't
reviews.
name him.
Over 1 million and it's not peak
Did I give him a name
Tell
or
us
not?
whether Gravison will leave some flowers. Surgery scars and Sims is crazy. Play Inzoi to make a feminine lady. Create, design, and insert your assets. It's like a hard drive process your assets. Won't stop till Polygon's working. Devs working harder, hardly working. Woke Studio shut down and you're laughing. Crimson the desert, Wu-Tang mathematics. Minecraft about to make emoji money. And Strex downgraded like Sonic. Funny. Photopia, Inzoi, Deep Space Love Toy. Anti-soy, so girls jump for joy. Ananta, Mecha Break, yes, jiggle and shake. Guys inseminate, 9-month easy bake. Fake remakes, no break, stepping on rakes. Non-stop mistake, pronoun,
maybe
outbreak.
Bambuket.
Delayed, cancelled, you're a meme. This must be horror. 'Cause you're so obscene. Game journal, high reviews all day, but in
Okay.
3 months you're giving away. Push gay slop, now we anti-woke. DEI funding gone up in smoke. Like this video and lift them tops, because until eradication, nothing stops. Kyle, go fuck yourself, go die. I hope you die. Kyle, go fuck yourself, go die. I hope you die. Hello, beta testers. Like, comment, subscribe, and join
Flynn Bassett
the
said, yeah, he's
community
Vemupet.
that we're formally
Vemupet.
taking steps away
Vemupet.
from
Okay,
a woke
Vemupet.
gaming
Gotcha.
space and everything that comes with it in the way
Okay.
of limitations. We
Fair
are now
enough.
dipping into games that are innovating for, in my opinion, the first time in not just gaming generations, but over a decade. Greed has kneecapped innovation and in fact has taken out features to hold them hostage to charge people more after whatever they've paid. Inzoi, Flotopia, and an upcoming Hoyoverse project in the Stardew and Animal Crossing vein excite me because they are unapologetically iterations on what we've seen before, but with the expectation that they will be evolving and setting themselves apart to bring something new to the table. So think Pal World in what it gave Pokemon fans, a functional, not as limited by the pathetic Switch hardware game. In Flotopia and Inzoi, the game allows you to create things and then put them into the world. You know, they're not going to be kind of hiding from some of the AI stuff that's going on. So if you're pissed off about that kind of shit, you know, what are you even doing on this channel? The day one DLC packs that are available in the Monster Hunter Wilds that's debuted to over 1 million concurrent players is doing what it's doing. You know, people really like the game.
Flynn
and they're
Bassett said,
taking the
anywho,
time to make that
I'm going to
abundantly
make some
clear.
other random
They like it
squiggles
so
later when
damn
I'm
much that
finished
it
with
has
farm
mods.
animals.
To
Okay,
make
do
the
your thing.
characters as juicy as they should have been, correcting your mistake, shitty developers, on day one. That's how many people love this game, that they're just ready to roll that stuff out. They've got the body sliders, and I feel bad enough to genuinely ask why you're not a friend of mine on
Yes, I
Steam, so
agree.
you can gift me Monster Hunter Wilds that I already bought on console. What's wrong with me? The console version we can play together, untouched
Yes,
by
I
these
agree.
mods, but I feel I owe it to you to try to capture the correct version for these videos. I gotta talk about the underwhelming performance that I'm personally experiencing, with textures on starter monsters failing to load right in front of me in solo encounters free of other people in the instance on my PlayStation 5 Pro, thanks to the lovely Anil. So, yes, this equals mixed reviews for Monster Hunter, because these are also reflected on PC.
Oh, it's
which, again,
having,
based
I
on the
guess,
reviews
texture
that I've
issues on the
skimmed, have
game.
players making the sentiment that they love the game but hate the performance, hampering the experience that would preferably be free of the kind of friction that comes with egregiously low frame rates, textures not loading, bugs, forcing restarts. Deal was having issues yesterday. Stellar Blade and Wukong received props infinitely, because they came out, for the most part, bug-free. Something we certainly don't see as routinely as we'd like to in the West. Activist game developers, games journalists, what remains of them, shill influencers, and just entities admitting they're genuinely just interested in trying to ruin other people's fun. I don't know why they're getting involved in dorky kind of gamer spaces, but here we are. I mention Enzoy because today, whether you're into it or not, I recommend you try it out for free if you have the time to spare or the inclination. I just want them to know people like what they're doing and care. The interest
Jolly
goes
Ancha
far,
says,
and
"Hello,
I know
Teach."
more of what
Hello.
they're doing is what I'd like to see. I want more Anantas, shamelessly spider swinging and copping GTA trailer vibes within their jiggle physics waifu games. I want more dragon riding, and I'm seeing Tides of Annihilation and Crimson Desert just knock it out of the park. This is what a gamer wants a dragon to be, not the pronoun non-binary centric
Flynn Bassens asks, are you just making emails right now?
If you don't agree
I'm just
with it,
making
say the
random
right thing about,
spots right now.
in a Dragon Age,
Nothing
whatever it's
too
called,
concrete,
from
I'm just
whatever
trying to
studio
think.
that is, that we're
Today
certainly
has
not
not
buying
been the
anything
best
from.
day.
Again, you're free to do what you want to do, but couldn't be me. These devs, at a glance, in my opinion, based on what they have to showcase and make available for you to play before it comes out, for you to form your own opinions, whether it's Mecha Break, whether it's Enzoy, they seem to be pursuing fun. Even Monster Hunter made me erupt last night, because I just wanted to actually hunt the monsters, as in play, not slowly follow people while they talk like I care, which I don't. Less movie, more game, wish to play.
Flynn Bassens said personal life problems?
Numbers
If so,
often,
say nothing
because
more.
it's important in recognizing
I
that
gotcha.
woke slop fails so monumentally at generating interest. They can put out free betas for things like Concord, and the interest just isn't there. And why should it be when you're forcing this LGBTQ woke trans slop on people and claiming that it's inclusive, claiming that it's like, oh, it's so accessible and it's doing all these new and innovative things, when you are, by definition, doing worse. You make history your enemy because you need to rewrite history to get everybody on your side believing anything, because what you're saying is the opposite of the truth. This isn't a, I'm checking whether or not, your definition of woman aligns with the rest of the world. I'm just saying, you say that it has more, it has less. You say that it's better, you have to sell it so hard, but it's not. And just like Dragon Age, they'll struggle to give your sorry ass away. I don't think appealing is hard. You know what I'm saying?
Pyra says, "Make a girl ninja."
You can't just tell me you gotta buy that.
But
I don't
you
do free
refuse,
requests.
you want to argue, you want to fight, by all means. I'm seeing this
Flynn
like
Bassens said, I
Hassan
just hope it was
entity
nothing too
trying to,
No,
wish
so everything's fine.
death on a sitting U.S. senator, and Yeah, I get it, man. These entities can't really handle that outside their echo chamber. Nobody gives a shit about them, and when relevance is all that you kind of work off of course, it's just going to come crumbling down. But I've said it before about ex-Kotaku people trying to file lawsuits at people that they'd fight rats in the streets if it came down to it, and they didn't get enough attention. And you'll find that it's true of more than just them as well. I love you, and I want to talk your head off and just go into it, but I almost feel like you'll see as we're going forward, you'll see all of the things that I'm really trying to pump into you come to pass, and I love the phrasing of that. So I want you to leave your comments in the comment section, get me on the right track. I want us to together kind of keep each other accountable, maybe, sort of. But what am I? I'm a fucking, am I working for the city? I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Stay out of trouble. Was there something you liked in this? Like the video? Share the video? Is that a thing you're gonna do? Don't worry about that, man. We need to keep this motherfucker nice and low profile, and everybody can take a joke. Man, I'm just looking at this Inzoi stuff, and it's so wonderful. It looks so good. It looks so cool. This is really going to work for people who have always wanted Sims to evolve, and I am excited. I hope that you're having fun in whatever you're playing. Are you playing Yakuza? You're playing, Monster Hunter Wilds? Are you trying this out? Are you trying Mecha Breakout?
Okay.
You got some shit coming out, man. Wu-Chang. If you're not into that, Tides of Annihilation for me, the fact that it's a hack and slash thing, Stellar Blaze coming to PC. You got some stuff that they have not even announced yet coming. I'm excited for you, and you can hear it on my face. I love you. To the patrons, to the sponsors, stay out of trouble. This was lightly edited, but we got some stuff to look at. So I'll talk to you later. I love you. And can you imagine people mad at the nerdy-ass gamers? What a bunch of lonely motherfuckers we thought we were.
Okay.
Flynn Bassett said everyone is made at the gamers.
Usually 9 times out of 10, most cases.
Video games have easily become the most popular form of entertainment in the entire world, and for good
Flynn
reason.
Bassett said
While I
man.
could watch a show
So
and sit
mean.
passively as people talk to me on
So
screen, video
mean.
games allow me to take a sword and cut someone down if they start annoying me. And honestly, I find that kind of beautiful. But of course, I'm a YouTuber, which makes me cringe every time I say that out loud, because to me, I'm just a guy with an internet connection and an undiagnosed case of ADHD in my brain. Whenever something slows down and starts talking down to me, I put that on a timer. You got like a minute before I skip unless something interesting happens. This, unfortunately, was the case when I played stuff like Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance recently, which I also beat. I thought the game was fine. I don't think it was the game of the
Flynn
year or
Bassett
anything
said,
like
"Why
that.
not?
Besides its
For
plethora
once, I
of
can't
bugs all
spoil this
over the
Endymion
place.
video."
Kingdom Come 2, that was just kind
I
of a
got you.
very wordy game. There was way too much talking for someone like me. Again, probably because of that ADHD I keep ignoring to see a doctor about, but the point remains. While I didn't hate
Savage
the game or
243
anything, I
asks,
found
"Hey,
it
do you still
underwhelming for
remember
a
me?"
lot of
No.
reasons on optimization for sure.
Why do
The
people
game
do
sucked
that?
at times and had lots of visual bugs all
Why do
over.
they want me to remember
And
them?
once I was done, I wrote a thread on Twitter about my experience.
I don't really
and
usually
people
assume that
started
the
saying
streamer that I'm
I
talking
was
to is
being
gonna remember
toxic.
me by tomorrow.
As if I wasn't
There's so many
allowed
people
to
that
share
run
my
through.
opinion on a game that I paid
It's not
money
really an
for and
attack,
played
it's
to
just I always
completion
wondered
and
why
actually
that.
completed like over 95%
Usually
of
I'm
the
not
content
someone
in the game
too,
before I
like,
opened my mouth about
not
my
worthy of
experience with it. Suddenly, I'm
remembering
the
or
toxic one for talking
talking
about
to.
video games.
Savage
when I'm just
243
telling you
said,
what
"Oh
I
man," and
felt
guessed
about
it's been a
playing the
while.
game. Avowed has been another
Yeah,
thorn in
so
the side of many, even though it too is kind of the opposite of Kingdom Come 2 in a lot of ways. Avowed is a completely
Flynn Bassett said,
unreactive
"Gotta be
game
a
in terms
frequent
of its
watchers."
world. You can't hit an NPC.
Yeah, it's
You
like
can't
I don't get
steal
it.
anything
Like
that
they'll
is
ask me
supposed
if
to
I
be
remember
stolen.
them from
You
like
can just pick
yesterday or
things up
something.
that
I'm
are
like,
in
dude,
the
if you have
game
to
world
ask
that
me,
are
that means
okay
you're not
by
in
the
here
devs
long
to
enough
pick
to
up for the most part. Avowed's release was met with a resounding meh for most people.
Like
The
it's
player
like going to the
numbers weren't
grocery
exactly
store. You don't need to
impressive.
ask the same
The
cash
reviews
register
ranged
person
from
that you
good
see
to
all the
bad,
time
and
at the
plenty
grocery store
of
to
players
remember
were
me.
sharing their
You just go there
disdain for what
frequently.
Obsidian has become
After a
over the
while, they'll
years,
kind of
which is,
remember
of
who you
course,
look
an
like
RPG game
by
developer
just
that seems to
association
more
or,
so want
you
to
know,
release okay
checking out your
games
food.
without ever pushing the envelope in any way to
I have
make
never
those
done
games
like,
into
but then
truly
again, I'm not a
stellar,
person who watches streamers, so
unforgettable
I can't even
experiences
speak.
for the players. But if I point that out, like I did with Kingdom Come 2, I'm suddenly a bigot. I'm a big, mean guy, and I should be silenced for speaking out about these things. This brings me to this post from the Avowed forums, which reads, "The hate for Avowed has made me realize something. I effing hate gaming discourse now. I just got done with a video reviewing the cope of a game by saying they should expect more of themselves. Honestly, why? How does it have to be the best game ever? Why can't it just be a good run? People just effing suck, and I'm sad and over it, man." Hey, gentle hot fire. Who hurt you? Also, why is it not okay for players to expect good quality products for the money that they spend? The only reason you are having this opinion is likely because you played Avowed via Game Pass, which means that you didn't really pay much to
Flynn Bassett
experience it
said gay.
anyways. However, let's dial it back a second. Imagine you paid $80 or 90 Canadian, like
I'm
I
still
do
on
over
TikTok,
here
so.
in my stupid country for a game like Avowed had released if I wanted to play it. Which is
I'm
around
not
the
just
same
on
price,
YouTube.
mind you, as say Elden Ring when it released. Yet when comparing Elden Ring to Avowed, it's a completely
Morgan R.
different
said,
beast
"How'd
in
you
terms
know?
of
Flynn?"
reactivity, world
Smiling
design,
face
and
with
so
tear
much
emoji.
more, not to mention the sheer size of it.
See
I think
here.
most people would agree that Elden Ring is 100% worth the price that people paid for it. And look, while I don't expect every game to be the same size as the continent of Africa, I do think there has to come a time where the conversation needs to be questioned. Which is, why are you, as in this Reddit user I mean, okay with paying for something knowing full well it's not going to meet your expectations?
Flynn Bassett
Shouldn't you
asks what I
expect
know.
more from these AAA studios when it comes to the games that they make, especially if the games being made are backed by actual trillion-dollar company? That's the thing. Avowed being what it is would be fine if the game was, say, kickstarted, or Obsidian paid for the game themselves.
Morgan R. said, "I'm gay."
But they had Microsoft behind them, dude. That's insane.
Guys,
These are the
stop.
people who own Halo.
Fucking,
now.
I'm on
Why
TikTok.
are
Please
you
stop.
okay with them giving you the bare minimum offerings for full price on Steam anyways, of course? The only reason you would be okay with this bare minimum effort is simply because the game is on Game Pass and that's where you played it. And let me tell you, if Avowed existed as it did, and let's say that Game Pass didn't exist, and Avowed just came to all the platforms for full price at release, you and I both know that Obsidian would be facing massive layoffs right now, and probably shutting down in response to the reception. The only reason why they got away with what they
Flynn
did was
Bassett
because of
asks, "I
Game
thought you
Pass.
were done
That's
with
really
TikTok?"
it.
No.
You say that you hate gaming discourse,
TikTok came
but I
back.
think that it's something else. You actually
It's my
hate that
biggest
people
platform. As
have
much
a
as I
voice
hate
now
TikTok,
to
I
say
need
what
it.
they think and actually be
Need to
taken
work, at
seriously
least.
for once. And not just by the community, mind you, but by developers, industry people, and more. For a comparison with Avowed, look at Assassin's Creed Shadows. Another game that has been rightfully
Oh my
clowned
eye.
on and dragged through the mud for months at this point. You may say, oh, the game
Morgan R. said,
discourse,
"Yes, sir."
those poor developers. But
Alright,
come on, man.
thank you.
Shadows, like Avowed, completely cooked themselves. The game
Okay,
leaked
I
online
think
too
this
recently, which I
angle-
don't get
Flynn
into,
Bassett
but
said, "Be
all I'll
gone,
say
foul
is
beast."
based on what I've been told,
No.
that the writing of
Savage
Shadows,
243 said,
specifically
"Anyway, how you been
romances, are
doing?"
nuclear
I don't know, I'm
Californian
just trying
levels
to-
of bad, but I'll save
just-
that discussion
right now,
for
just
when the
screwing
game is
around
out
right now,
official.
trying to
For an
think.
example, did you see that Shadows is being promoted with boba
Trying
tea?
to
And
think.
Grumps pointed out that Ubisoft can't even get the drinks right when promoting their Japanese game, because boba tea, in case you don't know,
Savage
is actually
243 said,
Japanese.
"Cool."
You may say, oh,
Yes.
well, who cares? But that's
Like
the thing.
that,
You're
and then
just
we
being
have,
ignorant to the ever-growing prevalent tongue surrounding you simply because you refuse to engage with it. These things are bad, guys.
Savage 243 said, "All right, a GTG."
Okay, so if I-
Savage 243 said, "Bye."
Frankly, you don't care.
Flynn Bassett
Alright,
said, "Just don't stink while you think."
Don't think while you think.
Ago within the same genre, mind you, so the comparison
Maybe I
is
should make it
legit
more
and fair.
mecha.
That is a bad thing. Why are you okay with getting less and of poorer quality for the
Yeah,
same
maybe I
amount,
should make it
or
more
in many
mecha.
such cases more money than
Mecha's
before?
kinda on that shit
The
today,
point of gaming
this week,
discourse is
this
that
month.
it needs to exist because now more than ever before, players need to be heard when it comes to their opinions. Because if you don't voice your concerns about Avowed or how unreactive and boring it can be, you are then complying to that standard with your silence instead. Is it not beneficial for you to speak
Yeah,
up when things are
let's
not
make
okay?
a
Why is that problematic to some
good
people?
idea.
Like this
I give
user
you
on
an
Twitter
idea.
who said this: Avowed is
So,
incredible, especially when you
let's
don't have a YouTuber lying to
head.
you. Look, you can enjoy a mid-game all you want, but the fact that you felt the need to
Actually,
call out a specific group of people because they challenged your perspective, it shows that deep down what they said has on
alright, so
some
let's
level
make it
resonated
Fled
more
Bass
with
and
you, and
asks
you really
Artextric,
cannot
have you
deny
heard
it.
about the game
Otherwise,
ATLS?
you wouldn't be calling out YouTubers in
ATLS.
general when it comes to your enjoyment of a video game. I
ATLS.
never said that nobody can't enjoy Avowed.
ATLS.
Play whatever you want. Go play Kingdom Come 2 if you want to as well. I'm not stopping you. I'm just telling you from what I played of that game that it had plenty of
ATL. I gotta
bugs,
look that up.
infinite loading screens, and characters flat out
Give me 1
disappearing
second.
mid-conversation. Not to mention that the entire crime system in Kingdom Come 2 is utterly pointless once you raise your charisma about to level 20. Because then you can just kill a guard in broad daylight.
I wonder.
And like a guard will
Okay,
come
so
up to you,
let's.
and you'll just say, "Don't you know who I am?" And then everybody just kind of goes, "Oh, my bad, sir. Please enjoy your day," and that's it.
Like that.
For
Make
a
a
game that is
head.
advertised to be full of consequences,
Right
let me tell you,
here.
after beating Kingdom
Flynn
Come
Bassett
2,
said
I
pronounced
didn't
at Lee
feel like there
SS.
was that much. It felt very bog standard to me.
Hold on.
You almost had to go out of your way to ruin the world around you, pretty much.
Yes,
That's
I
a
agree.
criticism of the game. Again, you can enjoy it if you want to. Nobody is stopping you. But this is why gaming discourse exists. It's on the internet. You can't stop this sort of stuff, guys. The
Flynn
genie,
Bassett
so to
asks
speak, is out
Artextric,
of the bottle
have you heard
already,
about the
and
game
it's broken,
ATLS?
and you can't put it back
Flynn
in no matter
Bassett
how
said
hard you
pronounced
try.
at
Right
Lee
to close
SS.
says good afternoon,
Flynn
everyone.
Bassett said pronounced at Lee
That is
SS.
amazing. People need to stop comparing
Flynn
it to
Bassett
Skyrim
said
to
pew.
find ways to fault it. It's not
Hold
a
on.
sequel or a competitor to Skyrim. It's just a great RPG in 2025. Enjoy it for what it is. Well, yes, but actually no, as this other
Okay.
user then challenges this
Flynn
virtuous
Bassett
fidelity
asks double
guy's
message.
take in this very comment section, which states
I don't
here,
know why I
it's
did
not a
that.
sequel or a competitor to Skyrim. Technically, you're right. It's a competitor to Kingdom Come 2, which for Avowed is actually worse, but no.
See
Saying
here.
something doesn't compete with something else to shield from criticism doesn't simply make it so, and it does not benefit you to fight against
here,
the people who
back
fight for
here,
more. Exactly this, and
the
they're
neck
right to
about
compare
here,
Avowed to Kingdom Come 2 since both
like
games
that.
are open-ended
Hold
first-person
on.
RPG games.
Like
Well,
that.
in Avowed, you can play in third person if you want to, but the point still stands. Where you make
Like that.
choices and you shape the world
Okay.
around you, they both do this. And since both games
Uh,
obviously release so close to each other, they are, of course, fighting for your time, money, and engagement during the very crucial opening month of release for both of these games and their studios. And look,
Yeah.
while I wasn't crazy about Kingdom Come 2, yes, it is
There's
more
that.
involved in Avowed in pretty much every single way. And to Kingdom Come 2's benefit, the game was also not backed by a trillion-dollar corporation like Microsoft in the case of Obsidian with Avowed. And yet, despite not having that safety net to save it from oblivion if it were to underperform, tell me why then that Kingdom Come 2
Morgan
is
R
meant to
said
make
Tinker
more
Talker
and
ruined the
be
fun
better than
sleepy face
Avowed. It can't be
emoji.
the money, right? Because
Yeah.
Obsidian has pop-up Microsoft standing over them with deep pockets.
Okay,
So what is it then? The simple answer comes down to
Okay.
a few things. One is that the talented Warhorse, which made Kingdom
Okay,
Come, is
so I
evidently
think
more
what we're gonna
talented than
make,
those at Obsidian right now.
the character
You
is
can
pretty
poke and complain
mega.
and say, but
This
one
mega's
is a
been kind of on the
fantasy
shit
RPG,
today.
the other one's a
So
more
what I'm gonna
realistic one.
do
It
is
doesn't matter,
make
guys.
something.
They're
Ooh,
both
that's kinda
open-ended
cool.
RPG games released within a
So-
similar
Flynn
time
Bassett
frame,
said when your audience is all on
comparison to
TikTok,
sound.
but
You
YouTube
can
has
also
more
compare
advantages
Kingdom
for
Come
you.
to Skyrim, despite the fact that Kingdom Come does not have any actual flying dragons in them, although that would be cool, not gonna lie. The other problem is that the Western industry for games is kind of a mess right now. Remember that story about NetEase pulling funding out of many Western game studios? I'll refresh your memory in case you don't know. This article from Fandom Pulse reads, after Marvel Rivals layoffs, NetEase rumored to pull funding from other Western developers because they are lazy, entitled, slow, and woke. So Grums referenced this in his post, as you can see on screen right now, where he spoke to a source at NetEase, and they said that the CEO thinks that Western game devs are just inferior to Eastern ones. And I mean, based on the output of many Western games, not all, mind you, but most.
Morgan R said,
very
gotta look out for the
finding
bottom
out
line.
that NetEase
Respect.
CEO isn't really
Look
far
out
off,
for
it
that
seems.
bottom
'Cause
line,
think about it,
boy.
man. Avowed took
If you don't get that
6
bottom
years to
line,
make.
you're
It
never gonna
started
get
as
where
a
you need to
weird
be.
Destiny clone that was said by their own director that they wanted to make Skyrim meets Destiny. Here's an article from Kotaku of all places that confirms this, as you can see here on screen. That Avowed did take 6 years to make, and Obsidian internally pitched it as a Skyrim game. But it's not Skyrim. Stop comparing it to Skyrim. It's its own thing. Yeah, okay, we hear you, but even then the devs who made the game that you're white knighting for compared the bloody thing to Skyrim. So don't get mad at us, all right? I'm just showing you what they said.
Okay.
The point is that what that NetEase CEO
I was
said
wondering
about
why was
Western
people
game
make like I know
developers
they
is
make
pretty spot on.
comparisons to
And not all
Skyrim,
of
but I
them.
was always
Saber
wondering why
Interactive
Skyrim
is good. They did
specifically. I
Space
thought it was
Race
like
2,
some
for
weird
example, but a lot of these games are
spiritual
taking way
successor
too long
type
to
thing
make
going
and
on.
offer
But
little
apparently
once all is
that's
said
not the
and done.
case.
And if calling that out or comparing the current day offerings to say what has come out 10 or more years ago makes you a bad guy, then call me a bad guy all you want. All this channel has ever wanted for each and every single
Railwell says great goodly Mowgli.
doesn't get bastardized by a bunch of woke senile freaks who want to ruin your favorite hobby to push their agenda. I don't know how you can look at what YouTubers are doing and think that we're somehow not all on the same side here. All I and many others want for you is to have great games that are worth your money. That
Flynn Bassett said Trazen is stealing this meme and adding it to his
I want
collection.
you to only consume bad games that rob you and then allow activists to spit on you if you speak up about it. No, that's not what my channel is, and it will never become that. I play video games all the time too. I love them so much, man. I just want great games for everyone. I am never on the side of attacking the gamers. Even if some of them disagree with me, but please don't ever think that what I'm doing is trying to ruin your hobby. I like to think what I've said and done for years now has turned your hobby for the better. I've broken the veil over this industry that was once thought to be impenetrable. Me and many others have poured our hearts into ensuring that all of our voices get heard finally. And now look, things are finally changing. None of this could happen if we didn't speak up. And saying that Avowed is not enough for your money in this economy is an argument I think that's valid. And I don't believe that we should be accepting slop when we clearly deserve better. Like, how can you be white knighting for this industry that actively tried to silence you for years? The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS for short, as seen here in this Vice article from 2022,
Flynn Bassett
they got
asked SWAT.
$700,000 in funding to investigate what they call the radicalization of right-wing extremism in gaming. Look how far they went. This is from that article. Again, keep in mind, this was 3 years ago. White nationalists and other extremist groups have thrived in the online gaming space. For a few years, the digital storefront Steam was a hotbed of groups openly espousing neo-Yahtzee beliefs and worshipping school shooters. The Anti-Defamation League has reported on the problem, but no one is
I don't know
quite
what
sure
game he
just
was
how
referring to,
widespread it
something
is.
about
Steam
Lazy
began
or something, I don't know what it was
quietly
called.
groups, but the problem persists.
Some game
They
you
went as
mentioned.
far as to say if you spoke out against the industry and the forced indoctrination that they were putting in your favorite video games and franchises, that you were now suddenly a right-wing extremist. Like, are we
Flynn
kidding
Bassett
ourselves
said
right now?
ATLS.
Let's be real, guys. Had Avowed come out between 2020 to about early 2024, the conversation surrounding this game, which has nothing to do with right-wing extremism, and actually everything to do with just that the game is not worth full price and offers less than other games in its own genre, would instead be spawned by these publications to ensure that the criticism of Avowed would instead be deflected and replaced with
that's
just
a furry
compiling everything
game.
and going, yeah, these gamers
It's
are
an
toxic.
indie furry
They hate
game.
women and
It's like a
minorities, just wanna
multiplayer
shoot up
game.
schools 'cause they don't want to
It's
play
like a
the
furry
game
game
with
of like
pronouns.
magic or
But
something.
since Avowed has come out now, where DEI stuff has clearly
I don't
been on
know
the
if it's an
back
MMO,
burner
but
and
I
the
think it's
focus
just
has
a-
been
said, yeah.
funded, so to speak, across the board now, they
know
can't
this
run
game.
with this narrative the way they used to when, say, Suicide Squad or Concord came out, when they still had
I think
that
people are
funding to
making
fall
fun
back
of
on.
it because it's a
The
furry
only
game in
reason we're
general.
allowed to have these conversations so openly is simply because of that
I don't
very
think anyone
damn
said the
discourse
game's
that the
actually
original poster
bad,
on Reddit from the
so
beginning
I'm
of
not
this
totally
video
sure.
was complaining about. That discourse is what led to you having your free speech untouched. Without it, you would be silenced, forced to shut up, and all these
Flynn Bassett said it's an RPG MMO, I think.
feasting on your tax dollars as
something
they
like
spread
that.
literal propaganda for years
Yes,
to
I
come.
agree.
Dude, when I started talking about these things, which was around late 2022, going into 2023, I got so much heat from the internet for speaking out against these things. I was told I was a moron.
Flynn
I was
Bassett
even
said
a
it's actually
delusional.
pretty
And
good.
now, look
I tried
where
it
we're at.
rolling on the floor laughing
Case in
emoji.
point, you have to talk
Became
about things
free?
in order for those things to be changed or fixed. And it's the same thing with Avowed or even Assassin's Creed. If you don't speak up, these things will just fundamentally keep getting worse as time goes on, as these ideas remain unchallenged. Like, did you know that Ubisoft with Shadows
Flynn
is trying to
Bassett
sell
said
this
no.
wall scroll before the game comes out, and people are yet again calling out Ubisoft for being tone deaf? Here's that scroll. You're seeing it on screen right now. And one user responded to the scroll and scorched it with
Flynn
its
Bassett
activists.
said
So
cost
read
like
their
$5
whole
or
thing, but here
$10,
it is
not
on
sure.
screen, so you can see it too. Pretty much to summarize their point,
Was it
the
worth
scroll
it?
is written with Chinese calligraphy over that of Japanese, so already a bad sign. They say it looks like a Westerner designed an Asian-type scroll, which I mean, let's be real, that's probably what happened here. It's Ubisoft. And all the aspect ratios are wrong, and overall, it is nothing like a real Japanese scroll, which Ubisoft is clearly trying to emulate here. Then Dr. Alaric Naude chimed in on this scroll thing and said this: generally, curses or talismans are written in red. This looks cursed, just saying. That's right, so Ubisoft is trying to sell you a red font, Chinese written scroll with assets they photoshopped for real money, so you can hang that scroll in your room like a dumbass when you play their Japanese Assassin's Creed game. So you tell me, am I now toxic for pointing this out to you? Is Dr. Alaric or the other users who pointed
Flynn
out
Vassant
anything
said,
that's
"Hey,
definitively
I'm
wrong
not going
about
to
the
say it's
scroll?
not.
Now,
It's
do you
got
know gamers
replayability
will
to it
tell
through the
you what
different
scroll
classes."
is? Or could it be that gaming discourse isn't as bad as you make it out to be, and people are allowed to voice their opinions regardless, and in fact, it's a good thing that people do
Wait,
this?
if it's MMO,
Otherwise,
shouldn't it
many
be
of
like
you would have
free?
looked at that scroll and gone, looks fine to me.
Wait, no, that doesn't
Ignoring
make
the fact that
sense.
it's written
No, wait,
largely
yeah,
in
shouldn't it be
Chinese and is
free?
cursed 'cause it's literally
If it's
in
like an
red
MMO,
font.
shouldn't it
Let's
be
just
like a
stop being a
subscription
bad
or something you have to
consumer,
pay?
just eat the slop guy.
Flynn
How dare
Vassant
you
said
have your
warrior,
own opinions
bandit,
or
and
value
sorcerer.
others? Or I guess you can cope like this dude on Twitter who said that Assassin's Creed was never historically accurate and we're all just softer than baby poo. Never mind the fact that Ubisoft back in the day removed the crossbow from the original Assassin's Creed game because it wasn't historically accurate to the time period in which Ultimate
Flynn
Gear
Vassant
existed
said,
and
"Well,
honored
then
those
more
days.
it's RPG."
Instead, now they're replaced by all the slop that Shadows pushes instead.
I
Say
was
with me,
wondering,
fellas, you
because
are
if it's
not
an
toxic
MMO,
for
shouldn't it be
simply
a
voicing your
subscription?
opinions. You really aren't.
Isn't that how that
These
works?
things
How,
shouldn't
isn't that
be
how
opposed,
most
and speaking
MMOs
to one
stay
another
alive?
can
They
only
doesn't need a
make things better
subscription.
in the future. Because hey, I don't understand everything
So they're just
perfectly
buying
either,
the game
so if I get
outright.
something wrong, call me out on it, it's fine. But you gotta have some sense
Flynn
of
Vassant
humility in
said,
this
"Think
life,
grind
otherwise
game."
you're just a big stupid baby that pays taxes. This
Grindy
then brings
the
us to
game.
GameSpot, who
Grindy,
recently spoke to the
Grindy,
director of
Grindy,
Avowed, and the
Grindy.
director
Why does
confirmed
that
that
sound
they do want to
familiar?
see more of that world in the future if possible, the director said
Look
via
that
their
up
interview.
later.
Now that we've built this wonderful world and also built this team strength and muscle memory around the content and gameplay in this world, I'd love to see us do more with it. And look, despite the problem
Flynn
people have
Vassant
with
said, "You
Avowed, I
grind
think
for
that
gear
Obsidian
alone."
would be smart to make another one in the future. However, they need to
Oh,
ensure
it's
they
grindy.
actually take
Oh,
the
grindy.
criticisms
That's
to
what
heart
I
and
think
don't
like a
brush them
game he was
aside
referring
thinking
to.
that they're all toxic for voicing
There's
their
a game that's
concerns.
called that.
A
but I
sequel
don't
to
know what's
Avowed
called.
with expanded combat, better writing and characters, and a world that actually feels more
Let's see
reactive could
here.
indeed be a great game. But if they go down the usual path that other dev studios have, where they just ignore
Shit.
the criticisms and instead double down, it's going to be a bad day for Obsidian. Finally, I want to take this part of that original post that brought this whole video together in the first place. The same Reddit post where they said we're all grifters for voicing our criticism had this post following it, which reads, "Honestly, I think it's helpful to remember none of this is about gaming and has nothing to do with the games in question. What we're seeing is a global level slide into extreme partisan rhetoric fueled by both organic and inorganic media algorithms. The same mechanisms accelerating divisive politics are bleeding into every aspect of life. Watch for keywords, trending rhetoric, and viral talking points. You can find them or some variation thereof in everything form of online discourse. I'm not arguing for any vast conspiracies, only saying it's an evolving consequence of destabilizing global socioeconomics combined with new technology that has allowed propaganda and echo chambers to spread like wildfire. To clarify further, I'm not at all saying all criticism of this game or others is invalid. Actual criticism has always existed and is absolutely legitimate. It's only the hyperbolic hatred."
Flynn
using all
Vassant
the
said,
same
"I'd say it's
keywords
more
that is
like the
nothing but a
classic games where you
byproduct
go
of
around grinding
propaganda.
for gear and
There are
XP."
many vested interests in the world who
So why
trade
are
on,
people making fun of
monetize,
it?
and
It's just because
utilize
it's a furry
humanity's
game?
capacity for hatred and fear. They've always been commodities,
like
but now they've become one of the
the
most
pure
powerful
reason?
products in the global market. That's a lot of words to say that you shouldn't listen to any real criticisms against Avowed or any other game if they don't align
Morgan R.
with yours
said, "Probably."
100%, because if you
Flynn
do, it
Vassant
means
said,
that
"It's
you're
not
a
turn
grifter.
based."
It's
Yeah,
all a
probably.
convenient scapegoat by this user to take all
Yeah, I think it's an
criticisms of
action
whichever game
RPG,
is
I
the
think.
current hot topic and
Kinda
condense
like,
it down to simply
Flynn Vassant
that
said
they are
based.
only talking
Isn't it
about
like,
this game for money. No, like I said in my
fucking,
past
like,
videos,
what do
they
you call
do
it,
the
Blue
best are the
Protocol or
ones where I'm
something?
far more positive
It's more
about games.
action
That's
based
not the
than
case.
it being,
If
or
I
like
was
something
just
like
doing this
that.
for the money, I would be making like 5 videos a day, but instead I'm making just one video at a time. Ultimately, condensing all verifiable criticism into simply "it's
Thank
just
you.
grifters" is exactly what I don't want people to come to as a conclusion. Because you're allowed to speak about video games of any kind.
Flynn Vassant said,
Jolly
yeah,
Ancha
I
says
guess
blue
so.
protocol. Isn't there also a red
Even if
protocol?
others will try to dismiss it
No.
anyways. All I want for you guys
It's just an
and
RPG
girls
game.
is to have great
JRPG.
games that resonate with you and are worthy of the money that you spend on it. That's all.
Here.
But when people like this try to dismiss all your claims, whether it's Avowed, Shadows, or Kingdom Come, it only ends up rubber banding us back to that DHS right-wing extremism boogeyman conversation from years ago. And then a bunch of out-of-touch people who don't want you saying the quiet part out loud because they want things to keep going the way that it is. If I was a real grifter, I would be defending these practices, not challenging them. And yet every video I do, it's some new thing that I gotta show people as to why we need to keep fighting the good fight. Don't ever let anyone say that you can't voice your opinion. Be stalwart in who you are and never back down, fellas. Because when you do, they'll revert everything to how it was just 2 years ago, and then they'll laugh knowing that you had the power to stop it, but instead, let them take it all over again. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Alright. Okay,
With over 800,000 followers on X, one might start to wonder what makes
I'm
this
starting to think that every like artist tutorial YouTuber, I always feel like they're coming from the same editor. I believe they're sharing the same editors. There must be the same editor because they all seem quite the same in how they all like edit. And it's not like it's technically a bad thing. It's just they all seem so similar on the way they present their videos. They don't feel like all that different. They feel like very like what's the right word? It feels very highly productionized. Is that the right word? Like more than the average person. Yeah,
Flynn
like
Vassant said, I'm reading its titles and it is an action adventure RPG.
Yeah, there you go. It just feels like it's like something from what's that? Udemy. I feel like a Udemy commercial video or something.
artists stand out from the rest. The backbone of Dino's art style is, of course, the lighting. Throughout my investigations, I found many of Dino's hidden lighting tricks.
Morgan
so I
asks
organized
mainstream.
everything into 3 levels, starting from the very basics
Mainstream
to
is not the
complex
right
lighting
word,
setups. There's a bonus
because we all
level as
try to
well if you
post
stick around till
the best video we can, and nothing's wrong with that, especially if it's like highly, it just seems too highly like too mainstream is it's too highly productionized, let's put it that way. Like it's from like straight up professional editing this. Like I don't know.
Jolly Ancha says interactive gaming.
Often do the first
No, I'm talking about the
sketches
video that's
with
we're
just
looking
a
at.
character in white background. Now, what set his work apart from many other artists is, of course, his incredible understanding of anatomy and posing, which I have covered in part 1 of the series here. But another factor is Dino takes lighting very, very seriously.
Jolly Ancha
Even if
says,
it's
"Oh,
just
sorry,
white
it's
background.
been a
I'll
long
tell you,
day."
the white background is not
Yeah,
easy to handle
it's fine.
at all. You see, there's this invisible light source that's present in most lighting scenarios. Granted, if you live on the same planet as I am. Let's assume for a second that's just a white room with walls. All the light rays that are in the room will bounce around the walls and the floor, creating a subtle global lighting in all directions. This shifts the entire value scheme towards the lighter end. If we take another piece that's not set in a white background like this, and we do the eyedropper test, you see what I mean. You can see in this fern piece, the difference in value between the shadow parts and the highlights on the face is very subtle. But in this piece where the background is darker and presumably having lesser ambient light, the value of the shadow side drops much more. And it's important to pay
Okay.
attention to these subtle shifts because this value structure will probably look weird if we stick the character in a white background. So yes, this actually matters. I'm just gonna go through a few more of these drawings here. You can pretty much see the consistency of the values Dino uses. It's almost like he found the perfect formula here. Now, of
Flynn
course, there are
Vassant said no.
exceptions.
I live in
For
the
example,
simulation
this
that is
piece
the Matrix.
also has a white background. The face, however, goes darker than it normally does. This could be due to a variety of reasons. It could be an artistic choice to express the darker and more mysterious vibe of the character, or it could be because of the direction of the light is different here. In this one, the main key light is coming from the top rather from the side, like in these other drawings. The cast shadow on the face makes it darker, and because her black skirt is kind of covering the ground, there's less reflected light coming back on her face. In a white light only situation, there's no sneaky manipulation of the perceived colors to the viewers, so everything sticks back to their own local colors and values. On one hand,
Flynn Bassett said, or better yet, Sword Art
You
Online.
have to do weird mental gymnastics, try to figure out these extra stuff. But on the other hand, things can go a little flat if you're not careful. Under flat lighting conditions like this, Dino strategically uses local color and values to spice up the contrast in these drawings. By using darker colors for the accessories on the character's clothing, Dino maximizes the entire value range here, which helps with making the piece look more dynamic and punchy. You might think, okay, this is kind of simple looking, you know? Like, I get it.
Flynn
but
Bassett
how
said,
about
JK,
light sources,
not sure
like the
what would be
classic
better.
point lighting? Well, let me show you how Dino did all of these with only 2 lights. By just tweaking the balance between these 2 light sources, we can achieve a far greater range of results than you might think. As I sort of hinted earlier,
Flynn
we
Bassett
want
said,
light to come
Saitama.
from an angle most of the time if we want the drawing to look more dynamic. Light from the front or too much ambient light generally makes the face look flatter. This works fantastic on a Vogue magazine cover, but not for Dino's drawings. Because Dino's art style is directly derived from the classical Renaissance style, and I believe he used to do oil painting as well. By limiting the number of lights, he creates these really dramatic lighting scenarios. The difference between the intensity of the key light and the ambient light is now really big, unlike in the first level. This creates really strong light and shadow contrast in the drawing. You often hear artists say to focus on big shapes, but no one's actually telling you how. This subtle difference between the value of the face and the value of the
Flynn
right shoulder
Bassett
here
asks, what is the
showcases
best kind of rice?
light fall off, while simultaneously
I have no
helps
idea,
redirecting
honest.
focus to the face, because bright face contrasts against black.
I'm just trying to pay attention to
But
what
the
he's
real
saying.
trick here is how Dino sneakily group the values together to enhance the readability. I'll just show you. There are 2 ways you can see how Dino grouped the values here. And this second one is how Dino further pushes the focus up to the face. Rim lights like this and top lighting like this is also some pretty standard ways to quickly add mood and drama to a piece. In this piece, the ambient light is blue colored. This stains materials like the skin with a subtle shade of blue, contrasting really well against Bae's red hair. If you don't know what this is, basically color light will affect the perceived color of the materials it reflects off of. And I'm really glad that the guys at
Okay, put it
Skillshare
there,
are
put it
sponsoring the video
here.
because they have this perfect
Okay.
3-part class by pro illustrator Dennis Zilber that covers these exact topics in depth about color and light. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives like you and me. Whether you're into music, photography, design, entrepreneurship, or art, especially art, Skillshare has a class made just for you. These classes are carefully designed by industry professionals to help you maximize your learning experience, and each class is curated into a skill tree called learning paths, ultimately leading to mastery of a skill. Not only that, Skillshare also encourages you guys to share projects after completing a class. This is probably one of my favorite things about Skillshare because I get to learn by doing stuff instead of just passively listen to the info and move on. It's still really early in the year, so it's best to get started now if you're serious about your creative goals this year. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial on Skillshare. Once again, thank you Skillshare for sponsoring the video. Another useful way to practice any kind of lighting is to use 3D software to help you visualize the lighting setup. Clip Studio has their built-in 3D system, but you can easily use free options like Blender or this website to help you visualize certain lighting conditions on characters. Once you have the rough setup ready to go, you want to approach the scene with some sort of interpretation in mind instead of just blindly copying it. From here, we're just spawning more lights in different directions, but the main principle should remain the same. Now, the 3 main questions here are: where do we place the lights? How strong is each light? And what color does each of the lights have? Although Dino figures this out almost instinctively during the grayscale phase together with anatomy, posing, and story, notice how he uses blobs of gray to carve out the form rather than going with the Japanese line art flat rendering method in this time lapse. This is obviously significantly harder to do, but at least he doesn't go all the way to color in one go. Neither should you. Dino adds colors after he figures out the values and uses gradient maps or layer modes to add the colors in. For example, in this piece with Fern, there are probably 3 lights being used. The first obvious key light coming from the right here, then we have a slightly more subtle rim light from the left here that has a reddish tone, and finally, to bring everything up, we have this fill light from the front to raise the brightness of the entire scene up. Once you know what's going on, figuring out the light shapes and the shadows are relatively simple. It's more about knowing the form of the body at this point. In a scene like this, even though it looks like there's only one light source coming from the outside like this, there is actually a second light source right here. Yeah, it's weird how the wall
Morgan R said, how damn I when a neurologist starts talking about how my third eye is blocked and my chakras are out of line.
This light coming from the window or
What?
door, whatever it is, reflects off of this red wall onto the character, and you can see this cool reflected red light all over on this side of the character here. Again,
Red
this piece,
light? What the
white
fuck are
light
you talking
from
about?
the top left, and then you have the red ambient light all over the floor from the ashes.
Yes, I agree.
But you
The fuck,
also
what
have
light are
a
you
dose
looking
of
at?
stronger red light here at the bottom right, because we can see the bottom planes of the character being lit up all over. You notice by now that the lights are usually placed in opposition with each other, with intensity being highly mismatched. There's usually a much stronger dominant light on the focal points of the piece and some other supporting lights for the rest of the figure. And this is how you want to set up your lights as well. The colors of the light being used are usually complementary as well. For example, if the main color is red here, Dino would use a soft blue light as the fill light, so you get this complementary color scheme going on between the skin and the hair of the character. I know that these might seem like really basic stuff, but the real magic happens when you combine a lot of these techniques together and use them in a realistic setting. When it comes to the placements, you don't really have to overthink it. Oftentimes, it's best to use whatever makes sense for the story. Or
Morgan R said, I'll never see that guy again.
This purple coming from the window, this warning window light from the side, the lamp on the table, and the soft ambient light coming from the window. Sometimes, all you need is a little story to help you fill in the blanks. And as promised, here is the bonus level. To really take things to the next level, Dino uses a combination of cast shadows and different edges to push his rendering even further. Hard edge, soft edge, and lost edge are the 3 types of edges that they most commonly use to manipulate the final look of a piece. Dino usually saves the hardest edges for focal
Wait,
points and
go back.
defining
Fuck, no,
boundaries
wait, go
between
back. What?
objects, since these creates the most contrast. A large portion of the drawing consists of either soft edges,
Back.
but the real magic happens when you combine a lot of these techniques together and use them in a realistic setting. When it comes to the placements, you don't really have to overthink it. Oftentimes, it's best to use whatever makes sense for the story or the scene. The blue ceiling light and this purple coming from the window, this warning window light from the side, the lamp on the table, and the soft ambient light coming from the window. Sometimes, all you need is a little story to help you fill in the blanks. And as promised, here is the bonus level. To really take things to the next level, Dino uses a combination of cast shadows and different edges to push his rendering even further. Hard edge, soft edge, and lost edge are the 3 types of edges that they most
Hard
commonly use
edge,
to manipulate the final look
soft
of a piece.
edge,
Dino usually
lost.
saves the hardest edges for focal points and defining boundaries between objects, since these creates the most contrast. A large portion of the drawing consists of either soft edges or lost edges. These are used when the form is rounded. For example, you wouldn't do a hard edge here because the arm is rounded, but this edge is hard because it's a cast shadow. Soft edges are really useful as well when you want to recreate a blurred effect on stuff, like the ribbons at the back here, the moving
Flynn
hair.
Bassett said I must go now.
Cast shadows
My
from
people
a
need
window
me.
or
Okay, bro,
another
do you think?
object blocking the light and add another layer of storytelling to a drawing.
Flynn
It can
Bassett
also
said
be a
goodbye.
really
There,
powerful
bro.
framing device when used correctly.
Trying to
Or this piece that's supposed to highlight her back instead of the face. Dino dampened the focus on the face by placing the light here, so that the big hat creates a cast shadow over the face. As you can tell, lighting is a powerful tool.
Morgan R
to
said
add
later,
another
Flynn.
layer of storytelling to
Okay.
our drawings in unexpected ways. But what good can it do if you don't understand the very forms you're shining the lights on? Click on this video to watch me explain how Anatomy Expert 1010 break down anatomy forms in an easy and approachable way. Subscribe. Bye.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Let's kind of look at it for what it is.
Morgan R asks, you good Artextric?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
You just have to be born with talent. See, I used to think that because
Trying to figure
all the
things
videos and tutorials were available online, and I still never seem to improve. In fact, I got rejected from art school twice, and only now, having made it to art school, do I realize that it's not what you learn, but how.
How do you get rejected from art school? I never really understood this. Like, how do you get rejected? Is there like some type of test? I always wonder this. How do you get rejected from art school? How the hell does that work? Like, you have to send like a piece and they will just judge it and say nah and then get the fuck out? Is that how that works? Like, are they looking at your grades? Are they looking at something specific? Like, I'm pretty sure like there must be something, because like I don't know how people get rejected from art school. I hear people drop out of art school. That's a thing. But like I never heard like people like, I don't know how that works.
Oh, you learn that makes the difference. And in this video, I'm going to show you the simple
Morgan R
three-step
said usually
framework
lacks a technical
to
standpoint.
consistently improve your art so that you can go from this to this regularly. But don't worry, this is not
Hydroclose says IDK.
on how to get better at learning. Everything I'm going to mention in this video comes from Scott Young's Get Better at Anything, which is a book I highly recommend you read if you are taking self-teaching seriously.
See, the thing I don't understand.
Morgan R said, so like the basics you tell people to practice, they usually lack in a majority of them.
But isn't that the point of art school? Like, given how art school, like art is like kind of like very scarce now, shouldn't they be taking virtually anyone at this point? You know what I'm saying? It's not like we need art to live. Unlike science and math, we need those things to live to make like better financial choices, or certain algorithms we need to like figure out certain like complex concepts and stuff to make lives better, or like develop better technology and stuff like that, right? But you don't really need art to live. So like, given that that's more of a like a luxury thing, if you think of it more, it's not a thing that you need to live. It's not going to, like, you can live without art, right? So like, that's the part I don't understand. Like, if it's not a thing that you need to live, or we need in society, in the sense of like, will kids like, or families not survive without art? You know what I'm saying? So wouldn't it make more sense for art school to take virtually anyone as possible who's willing to pay to go into the school? Because it's not like it's a mandatory thing to have in life. Unlike learning how to like be more of a DIY type person, trying to fix up a house, trying to do how to pay a mortgage, how to pay your taxes, you know what I'm saying, compared to that.
Morgan R said you would think, but it's an incredibly competitive field. So if someone draws better than the person who is genuinely trying to learn, they take the better artist.
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right to do. I get it,
Blue
but
said art gives people purpose to life.
I don't like it. Like, I don't know. But it's not something that you need to live. It gives you a sense of purpose within oneself, but like, it's not the same as like you need to eat food. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need farmers to make, like, to get like animals and then fruits and all that other stuff, vegetables, and do the crops and stuff. because we need food. You know what I'm saying? Compared to like doing a painting. Like I understand, I get it, but like I get it to the degree that some people use art as an outlet for certain aspects of their lives because they're
Morgan R.
going
said
through
art is
something.
needed for entertainment industry. Animator, concept artist, artist for comic/graphic novel. It's not a need, but it is a need to bring in more money for corporations.
Yeah, but that's more reason why they should bring in more people into the or make it more I hate the word inclusive, but like be more open to bring more people into the space in the art school who are willing to pay. Now, I don't know if he's saying reject in the sense of like a scholarship. I get that, but like if he's talking about, he said he's willing to pay the tuition or whatever the case may be, and they want him to do a submission thing, like have you done any art? Are you into art? Like shouldn't it be open to people who are into art and not into art? Into art and people who are just curious about art? Doesn't that make sense? Compared to someone who's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird thing. Because, like, it's not something you need to live compared to, like, you know, certain technology that we use every day now. Right? Or, like, a medical, like a doctor. Like, you don't need an artist compared to a doctor, right? That's just the hard truth of things, right? But that's entertainment at its finest most cases, and you don't need entertainment technically to live. You know, you can find entertainment in like kicking a stick down a
Walmart Blue said, I think all education should be free.
Yes, but that costs money though. That costs a lot of money for something to be free. Just like in Canada, how free healthcare is free, but you pay extreme high amounts of taxes. That makes up for the
Walmart
freeness.
Blue said we will get to a point where all jobs will be pointless because of AI.
That's technically not a good thing, I don't think. Because if most of the jobs are going to be run by AI, a bunch of humans are going to be kind of on the street doing absolutely nothing, and then that's going to cause anarchy. And we all know what happens when humans are bored or don't have nothing to do or have no real responsibilities going. It tends to go into a place where a lot like the Summer of Love, if you remember that. So, the majority of those people were unemployed.
So what are they? Well, it all begins with step number 1, which is to see. Before you can learn to do anything, you have to see it done.
Artextric says, yeah, things get destructive.
You'd be surprised how much people who have time on their hands now will do stupid shit. You know. Like, I think even Neon said this very thing. He said something around the lines that if AI gets too sophisticated to the point that we may not need YouTubers anymore because the AI might make like a new account and do their own YouTube channel and tutorials and stuff, and then to the point where it's too authentic to like, I don't think it's going to be authentic enough to like steal people away or anything like that, because most people don't care where the source comes from as long as it gives them what they need. Whether it's a human or even a robot. I came to realize that because a lot of people just don't care, especially normies. They'll just take whatever because it's just there. And that's just the sad truth of things. So whether it's an AI or a person, if it brings value, whether it's from an AI or a person, people will take it. So that's just the cold truth. That's why making it, well, that has nothing to do with the education thing. That's two separate things, but if you want education to be extremely free, like all around, then you're going to pay extreme amounts of taxes. That's how things be free. There's always a teeter-totter to everything. Everything has a teeter-totter. So if you want more, let me just use an example. So like if you want more, say, what's a good example I can use? if you want more anime, then you need more workers doing more late hours. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it's like that. If you want more animatics from me, I have to do twice as much work than I did just with 1 or 2 animatics. If you want an animatic every single day, based on whatever sound I find, I have to work non-stop to the point that I'm getting like 1 or 2 hours of sleep. So you have for more animatics or for more animations or more whatever the entertainment space is, you have to put more work in. Especially if it's like one person. If a team, that's one thing, you can probably make it work. But then again, it's like after a while, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna the amount that was being pushed out won't be enough anymore.
Flynn Bassett
So-
said I came back. My
Because you
people no
can't
longer
learn
need me.
without the
Alright.
physical experience of doing it. But if you just see and do, you're never correcting yourself and you're never improving. And that's where step 3, feedback, comes into play. Together, when you incorporate all these steps into whatever you're learning, you create an upward spiral.
Oh yeah, also if you make all education free, college won't be college, it'll be called 13th grade. Just to be clear on that. It'll be 13th grade. And the kids who's in 12th grade or high school who graduated, most of them are just going to college because they can just hang out with their friends, not going to going to 13th grade or college because they are still caring about their futures. More of them just want
Flynn
to party and do
Bassett
stupid
asked
shit.
how long would 13th grade be?
You can call it 13th grade, and then the next semester be 14th grade or whatever, like graduate, undergrad, all that stuff. So when you make education free like that, it's not even college anymore.
That guarantees improvement.
Actually, most people won't take
Now,
it seriously.
let's see
Like
how
they
this
take,
applies to art.
like literally, you just made high school even higher. It's not even college. It's just higher high school. So it's not even a thing anymore. It's no one's gonna take it seriously. Like people don't even take. Most people don't even take college seriously now. Like just imagine if it was free.
We can read books. Countless instructors have books. Loomis, Hampton, Peter Hahn, to name a few. But I'll do you one better. Instead of looking at the work they've already compiled and created for you, you can learn more by watching their demonstrations. Because not only do you get to see the final product, you get to see it being created. While we're on this, let me ask you a question. Have you ever
Flynn
watched a
Bassett said
video
I'll go
from
to
a
higher
master
high
like
school,
Kim Jong-gi or
aka
Koteria
go till 16th
and
grade.
thought,
Right.
I feel like I'm learning just watching them draw? If you have, you're not crazy. That is real. You actually did learn. And that's because humans have what's called a mirror neuron. It's the ability to imitate like no other. Imagine before we had languages and we were just barbarians. How did we learn from each other? Well, we had to do it by simply watching. So our ability to learn by just watching is strong enough that if you want to improve your drawing while doing nothing, you can literally put on a Kim Jong-gi
Oh yeah, that
or
reminds
Peter
me.
Hahn
Skype will be
stream
gone by
and
May.
passively gain experience that way. But that's not going to be the strongest way to learn. The strongest way to learn is to combine videos with live drawings. This way, you're not only watching the master's entire process, you are taking active notes on it moment to moment. Don't just draw, take notes too. So that's how you can apply step 1 to your art. Watch videos.
I think the hardest thing when it comes to these type of videos is not that it's giving them the information. I think the hardest thing is if they actually take in the information and do it. And I'm not talking about what he's doing. I'm talking about this video in general because like I'm talking like he's literally giving you like a whole analysis on how to do it. But a lot of people are lazy, so they're looking for the easiest way to like learn without doing much of anything. And that's actually really hard to do, and that's actually counterproductive to a degree for most. A lot of people, for some odd reason, are too lazy to want to learn something, but they want to be millionaires. it's really hard to be a millionaire and did absolutely nothing. And I think the problem with this, we fantasize with the idea of like being at the right place at the somewhat right time and then expecting everything to go well. And I think the internet's kind of like to blame for this. And certain celebrities, they became famous over like I don't know what a disagreement with someone because of some
Blue
form of
Walmart Blue just
ideologies,
followed.
or like the idea of like they did something very, I guess, amazing, and they became like a one-hit wonder type internet celebrity, like the Haktua girl. She said one insane shit and then almost spawned a career from it, but went crashing down, realizing that she's not all that interesting in the first place. She just said one just degenerate thing pretty much within the time and the spur of the moment while being kind of tipsy. Which is funny, because if any other woman said anything similar, they wouldn't have been as famous. She just have to be in the right time, right moment, I guess right atmosphere, just right everything, the just perfect timing, and then she became like a over obsessed celebrity like in one day, like in 1 month or something like that. So, and I think that fantasy right there is what a lot of Americans want to capture. I think I remember there was like a study where they asked a bunch of children, in like, was it in 2020? Or I think it was 2019. They asked a bunch of children what do they want to be when they grow up. And I think majority of them said they want to be some form of influencer on the internet, because I guess they're on the internet all the time. So it kind of makes sense in their head. They want to be a streamer. They want to be a makeup influencer. They want to be this type of influencer. I'm not gonna lie to you, majority of the time the word influencer is just dog whistle for I'm just unemployed. Most cases. Most cases. Not all the time, but most
Flynn
cases.
Bassett said no. We need farmers.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't want to be no farmer. No kid want to be no farmer. Of today, I'm saying. And even if they, like, it's funny, because if a kid said they want to be a farmer, especially if they're in high school and they say they want to be a farmer, a lot of their friends will probably make fun of them because they want to, like, be a farmer. So they won't say they'll be a farmer sometimes. Sometimes they won't even say it because they don't want their friends to think they're lame
Flynn
or something.
Bassett said, oh, come on, farming is cool.
I understand. But, like, that's what just that's just usually the mindset of most children. They want to impress their friends who are not really their friends, or even if they are friends, it's just for a finite time.
Flynn Bassett said you can even shoot guns sometimes.
So, all they hear, when they hear farmer, all they're hearing is like gardening and shit. They don't care about all that stuff, or stinky animals, depending on what kind of farm you're running. So, and that's a lot of work. Most kids are very lazy. They don't like doing anything that has to do with yard work or labor work or anything like that. They want to be the next I Show Speed, the next Jack Dorothy, Neon, the next Hassan, the next, I guess, Markiplier to a degree. So, most of these kids do not give a fuck.
Read books. Gather the correct information. It's crucial here that what you see has to be correct. You know how they say, learn the rules before you break them? At this stage, it's all about accumulating correct information. You want to be gathering as much knowledge and downloading it from the best sources. That's step one. That's seeing. Now, if you want a collection of the videos that I've found on YouTube that are almost too good to be free, then you can actually find them on
Flynn
this
Bassett
Milano
said
board.
nah.
Milano,
Those
by the
aren't
way,
what
is
make
an
the money.
organization
Well,
tool
usually
for
anyway.
creatives, and they are
They don't see it
a
that
proud
way.
sponsor
Sometimes
of
they're not.
today's
Some of these kids are not into the so-called money. Some of them are just in for the clout itself, the dopamine hit of being seen. Some of these kids don't even care about money. You'll be surprised, and some of them don't give a flying fuck about money. Like, they'll do stupid shit and then put themselves in positions where they can be arrested or harmed, but they don't care, because as long as they made it out or they didn't get caught right
Flynn
away.
Bassett said trades are some of the biggest moneymakers right now.
Yeah, they don't care. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, they'll even gloat, or even like make sure everyone knows it was them. So even if they like actually did like a crime, they'll try to let everyone know it was them. They'll tag themselves. They'll let their friends know. They'll let their families know. Hey, that was me on that thing I did on that stupid trend or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like these, like that's just how things are.
Video. So this is the resource part of the board I made for you guys, and you can see the videos I
Like, do you even blame them? Like, to a degree, yes, because you have to take some self-awareness and responsibility for yourself, even if you're a child. But then again, it's like, I blame the companies that allow these type of behaviors to be even like, you know, even glorified in the slightest. Like, shitty behavior, like, the fuck was that? Jack Dorothy, where the fuck is his name? Him harassing people and having like bodyguards, him harassing people and having bodyguards next to him, and then when people tried to come at him, the bodyguards would keep him safe.
I understand they don't know what it takes to live.
So they really don't. That's why when my little brother says stupid shit, he doesn't really understand how the world works. So he just says stuff and doesn't know because he's protected by like the idea of being a kid. Nothing more. He's never had a job in his life. He's never worked. He just never have. He's just kind of like whatever about life.
put down here are the ones that have.
He thinks everything's how it works is based on what he sees on Instagram and
really
TikTok.
Packed a punch in their value. These ones should honestly be $50 videos on their own, but they're not. So if you want a list of the best resources I have, as well as other study material, then go to the link in the description. And more about me a note later. Let's get back to step 2, which is
Flint Vassen said naive.
Very.
So do in the context of art is pretty clear. Draw. But
Nicholas Lee says that's a terrifying reality, all due respect.
If you've ever
On what,
tried to draw from a
the influencer thing?
Flint Vassen said I hate the nuisance streamers.
Yeah, this is why I'm kind of worried about his safety, because he's watching kids like, or young dudes like fucking Jack Dorothy. I don't know how to say this fucker's name. And Neon. So, I don't know. I would actually tell him not to watch.
Morgan R said thanks again for the help with my OC's
Nicholas
hair
Lee says
Artextric.
yep in a
No
few
problem.
ways and for your
Insane how
brother.
effective that subtle change was in bringing the design together.
Yeah, I understand. And no problem, Morgan. And it's like, the thing is, I was gonna tell him to stop watching iShowSpeed to a degree, but when I kind of look at iShowSpeed now, I think iShowSpeed's a lot more tame compared to like, and it's weird to say that because the way Speed is, but if I have to watch Speed compared to like a Jack Dorothy or a Neon, I would pick Speed any day, because at least Speed tries to be positive in his videos, even though he's like kind of crazy, but then again, he doesn't do shit to annoy the fuck out of people. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't do shit to like make himself, he makes himself sometimes look like a crazy ass, but then again, it's like him.
Nitroclose says, well, he's more tame than he used to
Flint
be.
Vassen
Yeah,
said
compared
no.
to his old
The
videos.
squiggly art OC are the way to go.
The squiggly artists, he's like, like he's a lot more tame. I think he's a lot more corporate now because he has a lot more fame than he did before. So he's a lot more tamer in how he does things, especially when he's like with Kai Cenat to a degree. So he does do, I don't think he says crazy things anymore like that, but he does do crazy things. But like, it takes a amount of courage to do the things he does sometimes, and I'm not glorifying it to a degree, but it does
Flint
take some
Vassen
form
said
of
I'll
greed.
admit iShowSpeed is a little more mature now.
Yeah, and compared to like a Jack Dorothy who is just out annoying the fuck out of people and then being a little bitch about like he's tough, and then he has the giant bodyguard next to him. So when anyone tries to attack him, they just push him out of the way. Like, bro, like, are you serious? Like, come on. That's kind of a bitch move. I'm not even kidding. Like, come on, dude. And it's like, it's not even like people who's bothering him. It's like normal, everyday working people who are just passing by, and he just does some stupid shit.
Jail time.
Right? And then that's why I don't like the idea of like the influencer thing, because like it becomes, it's more of nuisance streaming than it is just you being like making content that's entertaining, fun for probably your friends or your family, depending on what your content is. Like, even prank streamers at least are smart enough to hire people who's gonna play in the bit with them to a degree where you know it's fake. You can kind of see it's fake. You can kind of detect it's fake. But after that, you just say, oh, it's fake, and move on, right? But when you're actually going around into public harassing people on the street and being a nuisance, like literally, that's not fair to those people, especially you're harassing them and they're not doing anything to you. And then there might be kids involved. Like, I remember there was one with a dad, I think. He was like, I think Jack Dorothy was like harassing like a kid or something, or some girl, and her dad was there, and he was like, you know, he's a dad, so he's like trying to defend his daughter, and then when he's doing it,
Flynn Bassett said that's a good way to get hurt or something else.
Right? So it's like, I don't understand that, and then I blame like Kick for this very thing, because Kick allows this nonsense to keep going. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, and it's, you know you're a horrible individual when Kick kicks you off. Like, that happened to what's his face? What's his name? Johnny Salami or whatever the fuck his name is.
Flynn Bassett asks, what is Kick?
It's the juvenile version of Twitch. Like, it's just a juvenile version of Twitch. It's literally Twitch, but green and with the word kick. It's literally with a K, with a kick. Like, literally it's called Kick.
Flynn Bassett said, oh.
K-I-C-K. It's just a juvenile version of Twitch. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I'm on Kick myself, but, like, I don't know how people make it on this platform, because it's, like, it's riddled with bots everywhere, bro.
Flynn Bassett said Kick? Nah, I ban.
So, like, it's crazy. It has nothing but bots all the time. Like, I don't know that I haven't, as long as I've been on Kick, I only ran into bots. I ran to like one or two people within the 2 years I was streaming. Majority of the time they were just bots. Like, legitimately like talking and stuff. So I don't know how to pull an audience on Kick. Even when you're just streaming and people are just curious.
Or tried a level 5 exercise in the video I have about 25 drawing exercises, then you've probably come across
Flynn Bassett said damn Kick.
Scaffolding
I would too, to be honest.
A metaphor in learning for building our way up to a difficult task. And if you approach a difficult task too soon, what's going to happen is you're not going to learn as much as you could, because you're going to be A, discouraged by your lack of ability and lack of success, and B, it's just going to be way too complex for you to actually gain any good information from it. Scaffolding is the equivalent of giving yourself crutches for an exercise that might be too hard. So one example is drawing from imagination. Let's take exercise number 24 from my 25 exercises video. Exercise 24 was a highlight of your day. Now, this can be
Morgan
a really
R said you don't want to build your audience on TBH Artextric.
So
filled with bots, adult content, and I'll say it this way for your sake.
Change your medium.
Map.
So
oh
ink
god.
is the hardest medium to work in.
Yeah, I might have to
How
jump
can you
off.
create a crutch for doing?
But then the only reason why I'm running on it, because we don't know if Twitch is gonna be around
Flynn
either.
Bassett asks, what is the best thing to eat with rice? Also, what is this video mainly about?
Just improving your art or something. Something for people to listen to.
Well, we can go from ink to ballpoint pen. Now, why ballpoint pen? Because a ballpoint pen allows you to have a soft line. It means you can find your line before you put it down on the paper. If you don't like it, you can move it to the side. If you don't like it, you can ignore it because it's so faint. Now, what's one step back from that? You can use a pencil and an eraser. So the concept of scaffolding is to adjust the difficulty of a task so that it matches your current abilities. That is the best way to learn. is by doing just on the border of what you're used to doing. If you're doing something that's way too difficult, then you're not going to be able to sustain that. You're not going to be encouraged to continue. As Scott Young says, success is the best teacher. So in the doing phase, you want to make sure that you're doing enough to feel challenged, but not challenging yourself enough to not do it. The most common exercise you're going to be doing in the do phase is taking an exercise that was demonstrated from the videos and not looking at it and applying it for yourself. It's important in the doing phase that you allow yourself to separate from the material so that you can learn for yourself what you know and you don't know. And that leads us right into stage 3, feedback, finding out what you know and don't know and acting on it. Now, it goes without saying that feedback is best served from a teacher or a tutor, which, by the way, I have slots if you want to sign up and get mentored by me. But I know that a lot of us might be brokies. I, for one, live in a basement, so I'm not always in a position where I can afford a tutor. But there are ways to get feedback that are free and effective. And the most effective and reliable feedback mechanism I've ever discovered is DFI. That's drawing from imagination. Because what it does is it instantly tests your knowledge on the subject you just studied. Now, other avenues of free feedback exist. Discord servers for one, Reddit threads, and an underrated one is note-taking. Ultimately, learning is just the process of rewiring your instincts.
I don't know why that annoyed me,
learns
but
from
it
his
did.
mistake when he pets the growling dog. His instinct was to touch a dog, and he didn't realize that a growling dog would bite him. In that moment, his instinct was rewired. The next time he saw a growling dog, he lost the instinct to pet the dog. That was learning. So learning comes as a process of reflection, and there's no better way to reflect than to take notes. So this is actually the board I made for you guys to structure your learning. And I've included an art journal in here, and I've put an entry here because reflecting on insights and moments throughout your art journey is one of the best ways to be attuned to what works and what doesn't for you. And this is actually a piece of advice not from me, but from Daniel Forte, a productivity expert who wrote about it in his book, Building a Second Brain. It's a concept called detachment gain. It's the advantage of externalizing your thoughts that creates new insights and awareness. Once you say something, it becomes real. Once you write something down, it becomes permanent. And in the last 3 months, Milanote's been my
Sometimes that type of talk can be very dangerous. You have to have a more frame. That only works if you have self-awareness. I believe that only works when that's self-awareness. When you lack self-awareness and you say shit like this, you start saying things like you need a mental health what was that? A mental health getaway or some stupid shit, something like that. When you're really just saying, I'm not gonna actually go get help.
And said dead talk.
Yeah, it's like it's not even like you're going to get help, like go therapy. You're just literally going anywhere but, and you're just saying that because you want to get away from what's bothering you. You're not really going to solve the problem, right? That right there is usually a very dangerous form.
Artextric says
mental health vacation. Yes, that one. Like it's not like it's what Ross Dross did. He went on a mental health getaway or some stupid shit, and he didn't really go and get help. He just went to a vacation. And a motivational speaker, a glorified one, who's just telling him the universe is for him and everything is for the universe is for you, and I'm pretty sure that motherfucker was into rocks too, or in crystals and all that stupid shit. And I'm like, bro. Like, that's where you get ideologically captured by this shit.
Brain. It's been the place where I put everything, and you can use this for free, by the way. This entire thing will be free for you guys. And it's just been a fantastic tool. It's a place where I've been able to track references, track my accounting, make scripts,
Shit.
and I've even been able to create storyboards for upcoming videos. It's truly a versatile app, and if you're a creative who's interested in taking your growth seriously, then I highly recommend using Milano. I was stoked when they reached out to me because I'd already been using their app from another YouTuber I heard about. And yeah, this video is proudly sponsored. But I've been doing a
Probably
lot of talking
Wait,
and
is
not
it
a lot
or
of
is it
drawing.
not?
So let's hit the sketchbook and I'll take you along.
No, bro, you can't fucking do that. You gotta say if it's sponsored or not. You can't be probably sponsored. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to. You are by law supposed to say, are you sponsored or not? You can't just say I'm probably sponsored. What the fuck are you doing? So what are they paying you or they're not paying you? If they reach out to you, they must be paying you, right? They won't not do free pro bono or any of that shit. They will either pay you or they won't. What the fuck are you doing?
Actual study session with me.
Well, you didn't do that for
First thing
free.
I
That
do
shit's stupid.
anytime
Don't do
I'm
that.
Into a study session is drawing from imagination. And today that means drawing a bunch of tigers from imagination. Now you might ask, why are you drawing from imagination before you've studied the tigers? And the answer is, if you want to learn something, isn't it best to start with what you don't know? By starting every drawing session.
Thank you. At least you said that. You see what I'm talking about? You see what you just said? You see what that's why I keep saying there's no such thing as art block. There's no such thing.
Said I'm sponsored by my imagination.
You see what I'm just saying? This is why the idea of art block does not exist. You cannot have art block. It's virtually impossible for you to have art block. Now, some people may use this wrong in the sense of like using your imagination. You don't have to use your imagination to draw something. You do not need your imagination to draw anything. You can use references. That's perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong with you using references. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're evil. They're trying to fuck with you. They're fucking with you.
Jolly Antra says it's an invisible art block then.
Right? It's not the idea, because most cases I'm not drawing from imagination in the sense of I thought it out and I know exactly what it's gonna look like. I think some people actually think like this. Most cases, it's based on my experiences, based on what I've drawn before, and if it feels familiar to me, I have more confidence to go through with the drawing and then make whatever assumptions based on what I remembered onto the drawing here. Because I draw this type of perspective many times before. So, like, it's going to be slightly different from the previous thing. It won't be exactly the same, but because I have that experience that I can apply to, based on just instinct alone from
Jolly
constant
Antra
practice.
says how they have the patience to draw those realistic animals is amazing though, FR.
And it's just a bunch of practice. So like it's like that. So like that's why I don't understand how people say they have art block. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't work the way that you think. It's not what it is.
Imagination. I'm discovering the holes in my knowledge and the gaps that I have to fill. This means that when I get into step 1, seeing, I have a standard to measure against, and I know what I'm supposed to be seeing. For example, I don't struggle with tiger tails as much as I do with the tiger's head.
Right?
So when I'm
If you already know how to draw the tiger's tail, and you have an idea.
Said, "Give me something to draw Artextric."
Right? If you have if you're having a hard time drawing the tiger's head, but you can draw the tiger's tail, stop drawing the tiger's tail. Draw the tiger's head. Focus on the head.
Jolly Antra says I struggle with the heads.
So draw the heads. The focus on the heads.
Keep
drawing on the heads till you get it.
But only because when life gets hard, it's hard to pick up a pencil or brush again. That's another matter entirely, though.
That's a motivational thing. I don't think that's an art block thing.
That Peter Han draws a tiger, or Dong Ho Kim, or Kim Jong-gi. I've now primed my mind to focus on the head because that's what I lack knowledge
right.
in.
Yep, there you go.
In doing this, you make seeing professional work so much more effective because your weaknesses have now signaled themselves.
Isaac said I'm really bad at drawing.
Addressed. Gather
Then you need to practice.
the artworks and videos that are relevant to the topic of your study, and like I said, the best way to study from them is to take notes and draw.
Isaac said I made a car.
The artist.
Looked like a boulder smile.
This is the stage where you're meant to download and accumulate
The
as
uni
much
references.
relevant
Flynn
information
Bassett
as
asks,
possible.
can someone give
so
me a
that when
genre
we
or
get to step
something?
2,
You can always
have
just
a
draw
wealth of
something that's
knowledge to
medieval.
act upon.
Morganar said, Flynn,
At
draw
this
a
point,
doggo.
put away everything you've done so
Or
far
a doggo in
and
medieval
find
night
reference
clothing or
images.
something.
The ones I've got here are actually available in the study session board under references, and you can see the tigers that I've used for the video. As I'm drawing these tigers from photo reference, I'm constantly thinking about what decision Kim Jong-gi would have made, what decision Peter Han would have made, and I'm trying my best to draw in
Flynn
their
Bassett said,
style
okay, medieval
and
doggo.
adopt their frame of thinking. After all, the best artists steal, right? For the people who are drawing
medieval
to
doggo.
build the ability to draw from imagination, it's crucial that you gather photo references of an object from every angle, top down, back, front. This way, as you're drawing your tiger, you're able to get a holistic understanding of how the form of the tiger looks overall. This is important when drawing it from imagination because you don't want to just understand what the back of a tiger looks like. You have to understand the tiger
Function.
somewhat like
Like a
a
mechanism.
sculpture
Yeah.
or a Lego block.
Yep.
You need to be able to understand that it is an object that can rotate around.
Around, yeah.
And something I do is a process called mannequinization, where you break down the subject into memorable,
Pieces.
simplified forms.
Yeah.
This is the way to recall it from imagination.
And guess what those forms are? Shapes.
Flynn Bassett said, a squiggly line medieval doggo.
Ultimately, shapes. That's what they are, shapes. That's why I keep telling the fundamentals, the first two things I teach you is like the form and the shape. Because ultimately, no matter what you're drawing, it's a shape of something or a shape of, it's a shape in general. It doesn't have to be like a distinctive shape at all. It could be just like a big, weird, worm-looking shape.
Jeffrey said, I am trying to get an iPad or drawing for my birthday. It's in June.
Okay. I hope you get it, though.
And while this may not look
Oh, I
like the
forgot.
tiger,
Jeffrey said, iPad for
it is the
drawing.
best way to build
Oh,
up an
I'll get back to
understanding
that in a
of how
second.
tigers
Hold on.
look so that you can recall it from imagination. If I instead focused on the tiger's stripe patterns, I would never be able to memorize enough about the tiger to draw it from imagination. So, after studying the tiger from multiple angles and attempting to understand the three-dimensional form of it, the best way to cement my understanding in and lock it in place is to go on to step 3 and provide feedback. So as mentioned, feedback in this regard is drawing from imagination. Sometimes you can go send your work to a mentor, sometimes you can ask for feedback on a forum, but far and away, the most reliable metric for feedback is to draw from imagination and give yourself
Flynn
notes on
Bassett
what you
said, the
struggle
ultimate
with.
creature.
Maybe it's a
The
certain
squiggly
angle,
line
maybe it's a
medieval
certain
doggo.
pose, maybe it's a certain pattern. As you can see here, I have a pretty consistent struggle with the tiger in poses that aren't static. So the next time I study, I'm going to study tigers with their limbs out and understand how their arms connect to their rib cage. I also struggle with rotating the form of the tiger overall. This is something that will continue to build generally as I practice tigers more often. So feedback is only half the solution. This is nearing the end of our study session, and this is where we bring back all the learning resources.
And the thing is here, it's funny because while a lot of people don't really put together in their heads when they're doing like these type of studies is that once you kind of draw one, you kind of draw all in one way or another.
Flynn
With
Bassett
slight
said,
differences.
"Oh, Morgan. My OC from Wednesday's name is Vemupet.
So like for instance, if you draw a cat or a lion, if you draw a lion several times or a tiger like he's doing, you pretty much drew a cat before. It's not exactly a house cat or a domesticated one, but it is a cat
Morgan said,
nonetheless.
that's awesome, Flynn.
So, or like if you drew like a bull, you pretty much drew a cow before. It's gonna have its slight differences, but you pretty much drew the same thing. It's like me drawing a human. You draw one man, you pretty much drew all men. You just different variations of the same man, but they are pretty much the same one way or another. So a lot of people don't realize that a lot. So if you drew like one handgun, or at least a very futuristic gun, you very much drew a gun before. So like you just need to apply what you know now to that already. That's why I can draw a rain frog for the very first time very conveniently, or very convincingly, compared to like me drawing like a, I don't know, some type of space demon or something. I don't know, because I've drawn something close to a frog before many times, so I can just apply what I know based on the frog, or a cat, or a lizard, or whatever, or even a turtle. I can apply those that experience onto that piece. So that's how that works. But a lot of people think you have to draw virtually everything to know how to draw it. No, in most cases, if you draw one thing of a particular genre, you pretty much drew them all to a degree. But it depends
Jolly
on
Ancha
what,
says a rain frog. Those are cute ingle.
like it depends on exactly what the variation of that thing is, and how much demand of characteristics is needed. So like if I draw like one anime character,
Flint
I have an
Dawson
idea
said,
how to
yeah,
draw another
you
one.
think he's a Muppet, but he is actually flesh and he isn't a vampire. He's just a creepy guy.
He's just a creepy guy.
We used previously. Everything we used in the seeing phase, all the drawings, all the notes, and we cross-reference those
Morgan said
notes
there's lore too.
against the
10/10.
drawings we made today. And this is the stage where we compare what a professional is doing to what we aren't. And as I mentioned, taking notes is so helpful. So go back and take notes, critique yourself. You know what you struggled with. Write it down. And
I think this is a bit of narcissism on our behalf for those who are beginning to learn. It's when they don't think they need to write this shit down. I think that's where narcissism kind of creeps in a little bit, because we all believe we're the main character of our story, so we have protagonist syndrome, or, you know, main character syndrome, as the kids call it. And then when people say go write down notes and stuff, you don't do it because you think you're special and you can actually like remember it. But in most cases, you can't, because when most people do this, like they watch a YouTube video and they think they got it, and then when they go do the actual applying of the application of what they just said they learned, they go blank in the head and they don't know what the fuck just like they're having this blank moment, like where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? Why am I can't recite anything? And then they just run back to the video and watch it thousands of times over again without doing the thing that they told. Write down notes. Actually, it's statistics show if you write it down, you're more likely to remember it than you just trying to remember it. But we all think we're special because we all think we have photogenic memories or some stupid shit.
To remember it better than if you didn't. So that's how I study my drawings from a day-to-day basis to see improvement. I'm proud of how much I've improved in the last few
Flint
months
Dawson
with this
said,
structure,
yeah,
going
he
from
really likes
drawing
to
like
throw
this
people
just
into a pit.
a couple months
pit
ago
full of
to
potato
making
chips.
something like this.
Potato chips.
Morgan
that
said
I
also
wouldn't have
takes
thought I
been
would be able to
studying
make
our
that
link
quickly.
together
So
too.
it really works,
Yep.
but just the day-to-day isn't enough if you want to see progress like this, because you need to know the long-term goal that you're trying to accomplish. It's the only way you're going to have focus and clarity to see that sustained improvement. And don't worry, because I've made that easy for you as is part of the study board that I've made. So if you go into the board, you'll see this table. And what this table is meant to do is help you break down a goal into several smaller bits and pieces to the point where you can take one task today and get started on it, and you're making tangible progress towards your goal. So the way it goes is you pick a goal. What is your dream project? Is it a job at a specific studio? Is it a specific outcome? Is it a specific piece? It can be as big as being a concept artist at Riot, or as small as
Morgan R
making
asks, so yeah,
one
Artextric,
illustration
did you
you're
look at the
proud of.
Lesson art book?
Whatever it is, put
Yeah.
the work that inspires
Thank
you
you
to
for
make
sending
it
it to me.
in the inspiration folder beside it. From there, we can break down a major goal into two segments: skills and milestones. Milestones are what will you have to have accomplished to get to that goal.
I appreciate it.
So for example, for a comic, it's like a milestone for a comic is the inking phase, is the thumbnail phase is the script, right? So each of those is a milestone. And then skills goes beside that in tandem. What do you have to have learned in order to be able to achieve your goals?
Morgan R. said,
So
of
once
course,
you've broken down
thanks
your
for the
goal into
time and
skills and
looking at it.
milestones,
Yeah, no problem.
you can find a project or multiple projects that build up to your goal. I want to make a comic book series. That's a big goal, and that takes multiple projects. So one project in itself could be, I want to make a comic book one.
Morgan R.
But
said,
even
also
then,
Flynn Lowe.
you can break
Potato
it
chip
down.
pit.
A project could be,
Potato
I
chip
want to
pit.
make a script for one
Potato
issue.
chips.
That in
Potato
itself will take
chips.
a little bit of time, but that is a project that will challenge you and build relevant skills, and that's what's important. From there, you break down that project into pieces. What do you need to make for the project? Okay, if it's a script, it's 20 pages of writing. That's the first act, the second act, the third act. For a project like mine, which you'll be able to see, I'll include the example below. My goal is to draw on the THU wall, do a live drawing in front of an art convention by 2030. So that can be seen. The inspiration is from Dong Ho Kim, Peter Han, and what Kim Jong-gi used to do every year. It's a lofty goal I hope to achieve in the next 5 years, but you know what? The time isn't necessarily relevant. It's the structure you accomplish that with. So I've broken down my milestones here. I've picked my projects. And so from the project, you pick pieces you need to make to bring the project.
The problem with it, like I said, the problem with this type of like learning is that I think I can't blame that he's not doing anything wrong, actually. What he's doing is perfect with the information he's giving. The problem is the user, the end user at the end of this, because the end user is going to, like, once you hit them with all this type of shit, they're going to be like,
Kaya for Physics says, hi, Teach, did you see Twitch?
Did you see Twitch? Wait, I mean, did I see Twitch? What do you mean by that? It's like, the end user at this point is going to, I'm not blaming him for anything. He's doing a perfectly job with the at least explaining of how to, like, improve yourself, because it's not a bad idea what he's doing, or he's not even regurgitating anything that's
Kaya for Physics says my comment in Twitch.
Comment? There's no. What's your name on Twitch? Because I don't see anything other than the only people that's been talking was Morgan and some people on TikTok.
Fruition. For example, I want to build a reference library. If you want to draw from imagination, you need a strong reference library, right? And that's why I studied tigers. So maybe a piece I could make is mannequinization, as you saw. Maybe I create a page of tiger drawings, and that's my piece. Or I draw from observation. There's a whole world of things you can do to improve your skills, but the idea is that you're supposed to think about the goal you want. And when you're picking these exercises, think about which one task would help me in the most areas. For example, mannequinization takes the ability to draw in form construction. But form construction is going to help me not only with mannequinization, but with perspective, but with anatomy, vehicles, and so many other things. That's why I choose to study form drawing first and foremost, and I apply mannequinization to everything I do.
Morgan R. said he's doing something I admire and try to do,
like a Lego
which
piece,
is draw and pen.
then you can start putting
not
Lego.
Laura Small Tape says me.
By the way, if you haven't
I would
watched it
recommend
yet,
anyone to do
watch
anything.
the 25 drawing exercises.
I would recommend for most people to do their drawing in pen anyway, because I always say this to them: it stops you from using the eraser. You don't rely on the eraser like at all, so it keeps you out of like the mistake loop where you can say, oh, I can always get back to it later. Yeah. It's the idea. What the point is not even like using the eraser less. The point is for you to commit to the drawing itself.
Janae says hello everyone.
Together can create
Hello.
your scaffolding
And see it through.
Your
It's the
whatever art
what's the term?
you want to
It's
take
the
on.
trust the process thing. It's like a hard line, trust the process.
So by filling this out, you're not only going to make your day-to-day study
Right for close says in mono/high mono.
into monthly projects that help you achieve your yearly goals. And
Janae says
you
it
can do
bright
that
for close,
all
high
in this
bright.
Milano board I created for you guys, and you can even adjust them. So not only do you have these boards I've made, you have an inspiration board, an art journal, you can even add your own board for whatever you want. So let's say you want to make a storyboard, then you have the ability to do that by picking the storyboard template. Or you want to plan your week, just pick the weekly plan template, right? There's a mood board. Milano has hundreds of boards that no matter what creative project you're taking on, it will help you. That's why they are the proud sponsor of today's video, and you can download Milano for free. You can do all this for free right in the link below. Thank you for
Janae says hi.
Flynn Bassett said I prefer using a pencil than a pen, but I could do just a pen.
I'd rather use a pen. Okay, let's see here.
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost.
What is this? Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Raycon. And of course, by my company,
People still fuck with Raycon?
I've only got a few boxes left of the peppermint white chocolate, so if you'd like to give the 2 remaining winter flavors a go, they're still hanging on, they're still around. But like I mentioned before, I'm starting to work on my new spring blends at the moment, so I will be asking everyone for their feedback on flavors very soon. But in the meantime, grab yourself a box of my signature line. The tea is great to sip on in this wintry weather, and I've got some cool bits and pieces coming down the pipeline for all of you. I will link everything in the description box as per usual. Now, full disclosure everybody, I am currently battling a major head cold at the moment, and today I actually feel the worst of all of the days. So to be perfectly honest with all of you, I don't particularly feel like being on camera, so the majority of this video will not have my face in it. So if you're new here, and this is the first video of mine that you've ever watched,
Moga Jada says hello,
I'm usually on
Artextric.
screen a lot more, and normally I'm a lot funnier.
Hello.
I don't feel particularly funny right now. So yes, I really don't feel all that great right now, but I wanted to get a video made, and again, for those of you who are new, I'm usually a lot better at this YouTube thing. Also, big thank you to my friend Brandon Morse, who writes for Red State and also has his own YouTube channel, because he helped a lot with me making this video. So go and check him out. I will link him in the description box. He also made a video about Snow White as well that I think you should all go and watch. So go do that. Go show him some love, because I'm not sure that I could have gotten this done if it weren't for him. Get you some friends that take pity on you in your weakened state. It's quite useful. Anyway, now that Disney's Snow White remake is only a couple months away, the company has started blessing us with more and more trailers, showing us what we can expect from the film. And as you guys know at this point, because I've talked about it a lot in other videos, I am not going into this with the high expectations at all. And frankly, I'm not sure that anyone else is either. At this point, as most of you know, Disney has been fighting an uphill battle with this movie since day one. From the massive backlash towards the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White, to their decision to include 7 magical people instead of the 7 dwarves, to them then backtracking and replacing the magical people with horrific CGI abominations of the dwarves when they could have just cast little people in the first place. And lately, and I personally love this one, we've found out that Snow White's name is because she was born in the snow, not because of her skin color. I hate it here. But as the film's release date draws closer and closer, I wanted to weigh in on why I believe that this movie will be yet another catastrophic failure for the company. And I think it's important to highlight why this is extra sad, given that the 1937 Snow White, the original Snow White, is really the animation, the full-length animation, that put Disney on the map in this capacity. Snow White and the 7 Dwarves was the flagship animation for the Disney of old, and it's kind of crazy to see what the Disney of now is doing to it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the incoming catastrophic failure that is going to be the 2025 Snow White film. And in addition to all of my regular disclaimers, like this video not being exhaustive and whatnot, just know that I probably have missed things on account of having a sick brain. Not sick as in deranged, sick as in mucus. Listen, that's an important qualifier in 2025.
Oh, okay.
Leave me alone. But as per usual, before you once again board my hell gondola and together we traverse this lake of disappointment and tears and why are they doing this, let's hear from today's sponsor, Raycon. Hey you, I bet you have ears and like listening to things. Like murder podcasts for the ladies.com/Sydney Watson for 15% off site-wide. Yes, that is right, 15% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/Sydney Watson.
Oh my god.
Now, I actually made a video a little while ago discussing the insufferableness of modern Disney princesses, and in that video, I talked about the historical context surrounding the 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs film. And although I am always hesitant to go over old ground, I do think it's really important to reiterate some of those points so that you too can understand the context in which this film was made.
Nice.
Firstly, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which debuted in 1937, came at the tail end of the Great Depression, a period marked by severe economic hardship and widespread poverty following the 1929 stock market crash. During this time, the role of women in society was evolving. As men were laid off in the thousands, women began to enter the workforce in greater numbers, often taking up jobs in laundries, hospitals, canneries, and so on. The general sense at the time was one of gloominess, except for Hollywood. Believe it or not, the film industry experienced tremendous success during the 1930s because it was able to give weary, impoverished audiences exactly what they craved: escapism. While other industries were faced with severe challenges at the time, American cinema achieved unprecedented levels of cultural impact, and this was due in part to studios prioritizing comedies, musicals, and storylines that celebrated triumph in the face of adversity. When Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs finally made its debut, it was perfectly poised to provide more of this message. On the surface, it was a story that showed a young woman not only succeeding, but overcoming the evils around her. This was an inspiring message for 1930s America. I've seen other people mention that some of its success was due to the secondary characters, like the dwarves and the evil queen, who played their own very important roles for audiences. And this is something to broadly note about Disney in its golden era. It allowed for secondary characters to play pivotal and important roles, but more on that later. As I mentioned in my last video, where I went into the history of 1937 Snow White, Snow White herself has been viewed as embodying the spirit of 1930s American women, reflecting not just the era's aesthetic, but its resilience. To once again quote art historian Carmenita Higginbotham, Snow White, while not a revolutionary figure, still demonstrates a spirited character who leverages her skills and traits. Her story, rather than endorsing a domestic role for women, might be better interpreted as an ode to simpler, less troubled times. After all, if you are in fact a woman in 1930s America, just struggling to get by, why wouldn't you want a prince to come along and sweep you off your feet? And if you're a 1930s man without a job, struggling to feed his family and having to send his wife off to the canneries, wouldn't you want to be the man doing the sweeping? I think that we can confidently say that yes. Yes, you would. The second important thing to note is what 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs meant to Walt Disney himself. During the 1930s, full-length animated films were virtually non-existent. Animations were only a few minutes in length and often played in theaters before the feature production. These animations, for Walt Disney Productions, were supremely popular, but Walt wanted to expand. For some time, he'd already been considering doing a feature-length animation, but finally settled on the Brothers Grimm fairy tale, Sneewittchen. I think that's how that's pronounced. I'm not sure. Anyway, it means Snow White. and that became the basis for his film. Years earlier, he had been inspired by a 1916 hour-long silent film about the same story. It seems that once his mind was made up, there was no shifting him from this idea. Walt Disney knew that his film would be an important project, despite those around him arguing otherwise. The project was viewed with such skepticism and negativity, it was even nicknamed Disney's Folly, as other Hollywood folk expected it to be a catastrophic failure. Nope, they were about 100 years too early for that judgment. Walt Disney was undeterred. In an effort to get his team on board, he reportedly spent 4 hours acting out the entire Snow White story.
50 cents a piece, which was a lot of money, the equivalent of at least $10 now, to have a nice dinner and to come back to the studio where he related by himself the whole Snow White story. He acted all the parts, he even indicated the songs, he had the characters, everything in this Snow White picture was completely developed in his own mind.
Then, with everyone's approval, he poured years of his life, almost $1.5 million, and the future of his company into what would later become a box.
$1.5 million back then was like $1 billion, or 100,000 to most people. $100,000, 100
Flynn
million.
Bass and Sesks, did you know that Japanese animes were influenced by American comics?
Correct.
Office success. It's important to note that Walt Disney wanted to do more than just tell a story about a girl and an evil queen. He wanted to bring the world around that girl to life.
Yes, I
the
know.
film was made at a time when animation required detailed frame-by-frame work, with every additional element taking days or sometimes weeks to animate. Disney envisioned a film where every inch of the screen was full of life. From the foreground to the background, he ensured that frames were packed with movement. Walt Disney and his team ended up using several new techniques in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, such as larger animation cells to ensure all artistic details could be included, and using what is called multi-plane camera, which gave the illusion of 3 dimensions by placing several layers of drawing, one behind the other, and moving them separately. This was a definite game changer from the side-scrolling 2D animations to which audiences had grown accustomed. Although early viewers might not have recognized the technical intricacies behind the film's magic, they still would have noticed scenes like Snow White running terrified through the forest. Here, the branches seemed to be grabbing at her, and the ominous eyes in the shadows were eventually shown to be those of benign forest creatures. The trees in this scene were not just static elements, but actively part of the storytelling. All of this to say, Walt Disney took a real chance on producing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it was a resounding success. And really, without her, without the prince, the dwarves, and the evil queen, Walt Disney Productions might never have taken off like it did. Like I have pointed out in other videos, Disney films were a product of the time, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was no exception. So the question then becomes, if this film was once so well received by audiences, then why is the modernized 2025 version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs destined to fail?
Because it sucks. It sucks because it tries to, it doesn't even suggest something to you. It literally tells you directly in your face, you must take this. If you don't take this, you are the problem. I think the perfect example of literally the character telling you what to think.
Each says, what are you drawing?
I'm just doing a character design. I think the perfect example of a modern video or a modern movie that tells the audience directly in your face on how you should think and feel was it 2020? Or I think it was the 2022 Peter Pan, or 2021. I think it was 2021. The Peter Pan 2021 movie that came out. I think it went straight to Disney Plus, if I remember right. But like, when that came out, we all saw the trailer for that fucking movie. And there's a part in the trailer, you don't have to see the movie, it's in the trailer, where Wendy runs into the Lost Boys for the very first time. And they are introduced and they said, "Who are you?" She asked the kids.
Said Marbles.
So they asked the kids, "Who are you?" And the kid says, "We are the Lost Boys," says the black guy or the black boy. And apparently she looks around and she sees a girl, like two of them. I think they're twins, two female twins. I think they're black. And remember, they're British, so they have the accent and everything. So she's like, but you're not all boys. And then the girl says, the one of the twins says very passive aggressively, "So?" And then she says, "Well, I guess it doesn't really matter then." Really? Okay. We all know what that was about. So it's like, She's directly telling the audience, if you can't take this, therefore you are the problem. If you do not accept this, you're the issue. Which a lot of people, for some odd reason, does not get the point of the Lost Boys the whole idea of the Lost Boys. In the point of the Lost Boys in Peter Pan, yes, they are boys, but the point of them is that they're stupid. The boys are actually pretty stupid. They're not very smart, right? And because Wendy comes into the picture in the original movie, she brings a more classy, a more nicer, more feminine touch to the atmosphere towards the boys. And because that she brings like a motherly atmosphere, the boys actually take more to her than they would with Peter, right? And the boys are actually an indication for being a child, being stupid, being misguided, everything. That's literally the name, the Lost Boys. They're not just lost, they're lost, and they're literally lost off the path, the beaten path of being a formal adult. That's the whole metaphor in that shit. But because you put women in it, you just call women and boys stupid.
Flynn Bassens asks, are you one of the boys?
No. I'm not crazy and stupid. So that's the point. That was the point of the Lost Boys. It's not a club. They make it sound like that's the appearance of what it is. The layers under it mean that they're lost and guidance. Wendy in the original movie is supposed to bring a form of sophistication, adulthood, like wanting to grow up. That's the whole point. The woman is actually supposed to teach the boys to be better about themselves and want to do more for themselves. That's the
Flynn
point of what.
No, are you one of the boys?
Like it's like it makes no sense in any sense to want to be one of the Lost Boys just because you want to be included in it. But a lot of people don't read.
The boys you can hang out with.
You don't read past the lines of that. It's a metaphor. The whole show, the whole idea of Peter Pan and most of these old movies are metaphors for something specific. Peter Pan is literally the metaphor of not wanting to grow up. That's the whole point. Being a child at all costs, no matter what. That's the point. Actually, quite frank, in the new movie, Peter Pan is literally the villain at every cost. Because, I guess, if I remember right, in the movie, Captain Hook and him was friends, and he was a boy at one point. I guess he was starting to grow up, or the case may be, and then he wanted to go see his mom again, because I don't know how he came to Neverland, maybe through Peter, I'm pretty sure, and then I guess he came to a conclusion where he wanted to see his mom again, and because he wanted to go see his mom again, and Peter didn't like that too much, he cut off his hand or some shit. He literally cut off his arm, just because he didn't want to be in Neverland anymore. So the Peter Pan is literally the villain in that modern movie. They lost the point of Peter Pan in general.
Flynn Bassens asks, the origin story movie?
In the modern movie that came out.
Well, I think that there are a few reasons for that. The 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was hugely anticipated by the public, while 2025 Snow White has been slated as a failure before it's even hit cinemas. Not to mention, it's been embroiled in controversy since day one. Disney had already primed audiences to be disappointed with its live-action remakes, especially after so many had fallen flat for so many of the same reasons. weird CGI, and honestly, guys, that's putting it pretty mildly. Inappropriate casting choices, also putting it very mildly. Terrible writing.
I like the irony that in the original movie, the original Peter Pan movie, they was actually giving accolades to women for being adult and being the most mature in the room. Ain't that funny? The very movie that they claim is problematic actually gives credence to women in the sense of like, keep doing what you're doing, lady. You're very mature against these stupid boys. Leftists don't see that. They don't see metaphors.
And corporate feminist narratives have been accepted as the norm in most of these films. So when a Snow White remake looked like a serious reality, viewers were already anticipating more of the same. And our first real introduction to what the film was going to be came from leaked set photos of the lead actress in costume, a woman called Rachel Zegler, whose name I also sometimes say as Ziegler, and honestly, I might just alternate between the two, and I'm not sorry about it. We also got to see images of the 7 dwarves, who were not really even dwarves at all, but rather an assortment of what I can best describe as mental illness personified. The bizarre thing here was that Disney's replacement of the 7 dwarves seemingly came about for no other reason than little person actor Peter Dinklage complaining about the use of dwarves in the film, calling it effing backwards. Oh really,
How's it
Peter,
backwards?
please, no, really, just tell us more. Needless to say, Rachel Zegler's casting and no dwarves set the tone for what was to come, and it really set people's blood on fire. On the one
Actually,
hand,
they did the same shit in fucking, I'm surprised no one talks about it, but they did the same thing with, Willy Wonka. Didn't they do this with Willy Wonka? And I'm not talking about the one from Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka back in 2010, or what's it, 09? Back in 09, or I think it was 08. Probably 07. Probably 07. I think it was 07, between 07 or 09. They did the same thing in the most recent Wonka movie, too. Back in 2020, around the same time as Peter Pan. I think it was around the same time. They CGI'd the little dancing people. I forgot what they're called. The Oompas or something, what they call them. They CGI'd them with actual actors who are known to be 6 foot and put their heads on other people on their bodies or something like that. It was the weirdest shit I ever seen. I'm like, bro, what the hell? So you just literally masked off, took off all the like any sign. Oompa Loompa, there we go. They took a actor. The Oompa Loompas, there you go.
Janae says Oompa love me.
Yeah, so they took the Oompa Loompas, and instead of hiring actual real people, they literally took it upon themselves.
The Willy Wonka you're talking about is Timothy Chalamet.
Yes, I don't know. I've never really stopped to know his name. I know of his face, but I never stopped to know his name. So like the Wonka movie, the recent one that came out from like a couple years ago. That
Janae
one
says, fun fact, I'm probably the same size as them.
it's alright.
and Disney was proud to have cast a Latina actress as Snow White, while viewers were upset about the perceived race swap. After all, Snow White's name is literal and grounded in her appearance. She is originally described as a young woman with lips red as the rose, hair black as ebony, and skin white as snow. The 1937 adaptation stayed true to this description, while the 2025 remake clearly would not be following suit. Because, navigating that for woke Disney would have been a minefield. You can almost hear the activists crying. You might be wondering how Disney planned to get around this annoying little fact. Well, instead of adhering to Snow White's original appearance and ethnicity, Disney cast aside the skin white as snow component and replaced it with Snow White was born in the snow. No, I'm not joking. That's where they're going with this.
To honor the day I was born, my father named me Snow White.
This stuff is so dumb.
The fact that you have to say that, it just feels stupid.
While not everyone agrees the characters should and must resemble the original source material, enough people do that this became an immediate issue. Like, no surprises there. And as an aside, while some of you might disagree with this, I think that Snow White being pale and fair-skinned is about more than appearance. The white, fair, pale thing is an allegory that ties into who she is. That's obviously a longer conversation for another day. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the fairest in the land thing not only refers to the most beautiful, but also the most fair skin. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching there. Just ignore me. Also, it's worth remembering that only a few years earlier, people learned Disney had race swapped the red-headed Danish Little Mermaid in their upcoming live adaptation, and now we know how well that all went down. So at this point, it was very clear what the company was prioritizing, and that wasn't staying true to its own source material. But inappropriate physical casting could have been where this issue ended, had it not been for the fact that Rachel Zegler herself turned out to be an enormous public liability. In several widely circulated clips, Zegler said that she didn't like or watch the original film, called The Prince a Stalker, joked that they would cut all of his scenes from the remake, and touched on how Snow White basically don't need no man. For a lot of people, me included, it was bizarre to watch one of Disney's actresses go on basically a national press tour where she publicly attacked the company's legacy work. The very work that Walt Disney built the foundation of his empire on and put the company on the map. Of course, her comments were not well received. Are we surprised? No, not really. And instead of appealing to existing fans and potential new viewers, Zegler instead crystallized herself as a problem. Since then, she has only continued to dig her own grave, doubling down by calling those critical of her casting racist and misogynistic. She's even recently made disparaging comments about Trump supporters that she eventually had to walk back. But bear in mind that Zegler's unpleasant commentary doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's representative of where Disney is at as a company and the incoming girl bossification of the Snow White film. One of the biggest issues that I have with Disney's princess remakes is, in order to save these characters from the perceived damsel in distress trope,
they have to make them masculine. I bet you she's gonna say that. They don't like toxicity or so-called quote-unquote masculinity. So they'll, to stop this, you take a woman and make her masculine with the same masculine traits.
It inevitably forces them into an equally limiting girl boss trope.
She just said it makes no sense. It's like saying, okay, big dogs are a big toxic problem, right? Because they're so like aggressive and mean, and they growl at people.
Janae says they could avoid that by giving them a stash.
But like, so what we're gonna do is, instead of putting these big dogs in these movies because they're such a problem, we'll put
Hydroclose says it mono/trope.
We'll put a Pomeranian in it, and to let you know that the Pomeranian is different from the toxic dog that we're putting in this movie, we'll put like gothic spikes on the arms of the little puppy, and then we'll make it every time the puppy gets near the things, we'll just make it bark at things because it's cute, but yet it's trying to be exactly like the big dog. That's what this is in a nutshell.
Its princesses and show them as strong, independent, feminist women, Disney effectively strips them down to one-dimensional characters void of meaningful struggles, personality, and even the romance arcs that played an important role in the original animated films. And we know this is coming down the pipeline based on Zegler's description of her role in the film, making it abundantly clear that the original Snow White animation is undesirable and telling us directly that there is no love story here.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love
along the way, really, really wonderful.
Guess.
Wow, it's wonderful to be loveless. Oh, okay. Okay.
Until 2024. all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
Something that has always bothered me is how this new wave of
Nicholas Lee says, "Great job,
and
Disney."
love takes away from a female
Like
protagonist.
every time, every time I see this woman,
that there is no love
every
story
time.
It's really not about
Janae says,
love
"Don't
story at
forget
all,
the
which
high
is
heel
really
boots."
wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024.
Flynn
All of
Bassins
Andrew's scenes
asks,
could get
"Love this
cut. Who
movie?"
knows?
Something that has always bothered me is how this new wave of films acts as if romance and love takes away from a female protagonist. It's like every female lead has to be cold and heartless for her to be tough. Ironically, that's the opposite of what Snow White is. It's her kindness and warmth that makes her endearing and allows her to triumph. Walt Disney and his team knew this. Modern Disney seemingly views this as an impairment. Is that the right word? Maybe disability? Cripplement? Is that a word? Cripplement? It's a cripplement? And maybe this is an explanation for why these corporate feminist princess films have a tendency to sideline secondary characters who, like I mentioned earlier, are actually central to the storyline. Because why would the girl boss princess need anyone else when she can do it all herself? In this case, it's even in the name. The original film was called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because the dwarves are as key to the story as Snow White, maybe even more so in some cases. The new film is simply called Snow White because, as we know, it's going to be all about her. Relegating the dwarves to the sidelines is a massive disservice to the original animation and the original narrative that Walt Disney was trying to tell. To quote a great observation that someone left as a comment on one of my videos, and I'm very sorry for not naming you directly, I tried to find it and I can't, so if this was you who said this, you're very smart, a lot smarter than me. Congratulations, well done. Anyway, Snow White is treasured by these little men who see her as beautiful on the outside as she is on the inside. And it is through them,
the original Seven Simps,
that we get to know who Snow White is. They also play a key role in saving her and helping her grow. An example of her goodness is demonstrated through how she treats Grumpy, for example. To begin, he doesn't like her. He's
Nicholas Lee
standoffish
says,
and
"Well,
he's even a bit
totally."
rude. Snow White sees him as a man who needs love. In the scene where she bakes a pie, Snow White made this specifically
Flynn
for
Bassins said
Grumpy
it's actually
as a
called
gesture of
Snot White.
kindness. Over time, she wins him over, softening him and
Snot White.
changing his overall demeanor. In the end, Grumpy is the first to lead the charge back to the house to rescue Snow. He is the first one chasing after the evil witch crone lady, and upon Snow White's death, he is the only dwarf to place a bouquet of flowers on her hands. Guys, that made me a little bit emotional saying that. It's like my sick brain is giving me the feels. Oh my goodness. Snow White definitely made an impact on the grumpiest dwarf, and his life is forever changed because of her. But mark my words, absolutely none of this will make its way into this remake. And if it does, guys, I will be...
I bet you anything. I bet you my left nut. Once her
Mike
and
has said, if you're always grumpy, you're going to be bound to get ready to throw hands.
Once her and Grumpy even interact, she's going to say something modern audience that everyone's going to know. She's going to say, you're some type of toxic individual. She's going to say something very toxic. Your masculinity, you're hiding your masculinity, you're hiding your insecurities, like the fucking Joker from the Sushi Squad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. I bet you anything she'll say that shit. I swear it. She'll say something around the lines.
Said hand over the nut.
Nut. She's like, hand over the nut. Like, I bet you she'll say something around the lines of, you're a toxic male, or you're masking your insecurities with whatever the fuck you're mad about. Something, modern audience you must obey. Something like that, to that degree, I bet you.
Unbelievably surprised. Because modern Disney simply doesn't leave room for this sort of nuance. And it's ironically nuance that was able to be depicted in a very short animated film from almost 90 years ago. Because Walt Disney knew what was up. Similarly to the dwarves, I'm extremely bothered by the idea that the prince in Snow White will be sidelined. What's not widely known is that Walt Disney originally wanted the prince to have a much, much larger role. The trouble was, at the time, animators at the studio didn't have all that much experience drawing lifelike people. They weren't confident in their ability to do him and other humans in the film justice, so they felt it necessary instead to roll him back. I don't know why,
Nicholas Lee says modern Disney doesn't leave room for any romance anymore.
Human form, and for some reason that's just hilarious.
Yeah, they don't.
Anyway, originally, Walt Disney planned to have the prince captured by the evil queen, and held in a dungeon, and then saved by the woodland creatures. He also hoped that the prince would play a much greater role in trying to save Snow White.
No, bro. We did the same thing with fucking what do you call it? The Little Mermaid. Eric is he is a kitty cat. Go meow meow. I'm dead serious. Prince Eric in the Little Mermaid movie. He's a cat, and I mean he's a cat all the way. I'm dead serious. Like everything that they took everything from Eric, everything. He's just not masculine at all. Not in the slightest. Like I don't think any girl will go for Eric. I think the dude's out of shape.
Nicholas Lee says the live action one.
Yep, he is not masculine. There's nothing about him that I don't think any girl will actually find attractive. He doesn't have any really good qualities. Other than probably singing, that's probably it. But that's as far as it goes. I'm not even trying to shit on the movie. That's just how the movie is. That's how they written him. I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about the actor. He did what he could.
Bassett said, by the way, I've given you $50 over 5 months.
Really? That's crazy. For real? That's awesome.
Their lack of experience with human subjects just didn't allow for this to happen, which ironically opened a huge door for modern Disney.
Nicholas Lee says especially because of the rewrites.
Remakes are completely unnecessary. Perhaps this is the one and only time where modern Disney had the chance to tell the full story that Walt Disney couldn't. They could have given this prince a voice, a personality. They could have built on the ideas that Walt already had. But instead, they did the exact opposite. Because in the world of girl bosses, princes are bumbling idiots, buffoons, and simply not of any use. Anyway, all of this to say that I hope you're seeing the pattern here. Doing the opposite of what Walt Disney would do, especially within his own company, often ends in disaster. This kind of rolls me around to the last point that I want to make about this. Walt Disney understood the movie that he was making was for the times that he was in. One of the primary reasons remakes tend to suck is because you can remake the movie, but you can't remake the times. What I mean by that is that it's very
Nicholas Lee
challenging
says
to
the
take
best
a film
live
that was
action
made
movies
for
are
a
Maleficent
specific
and
audience
Snow White
during
and
a specific
Huntsman
period of
movies.
time
I heard
and
that.
remake it with the same story beats. They don't ring as true because we're effectively focusing in on the story needs of the time and not the story needs of today. Of course, there can be age-old messages that will apply no matter when a story is being told, and thankfully most Disney classics are full of these, but even I can admit that there is a time and place for modernizing a film, but it really has to be done correctly. One thing we can credit Disney of old with is its ability to create new films that met the expectations and the needs of the audience at the time. And as it progressed through the years, the company successfully hit on society's contemporary values. But back then, the changes weren't heavy-handed or advertised like they are today, meaning people were able to enjoy the company's creations without being acutely aware that they were being force-fed an agenda. Some might call this subversive, and maybe it is, but it was clearly successful. Disney's existing problem is that its attempts to modernize these films are all wrong. And the irony is that these new modern boss ladies aren't even speaking to today's audience either. Disney is making movies for its own echo chamber, effectively creating characters that speak to what the activists at the company and those in its viewership want. The funny part is, these modern girl boss movies can still get across the female empowerment message, but that requires creating characters with actual depth. Entertainment that features strong female characters isn't exactly rare. These ladies have been popping up for decades. There are even several great shows released recently, like Blue-Eyed Samurai and Shogun, that feature some of these female characters. The issue is that, in the modern era, Most writers and showrunners, especially those employed by Disney, have lost the art of subtlety. When you push an agenda before a story, you get message-first storytelling, which is hardly storytelling at all. This opens the door for writing that is too often plagued with self-inserts, bizarre casting choices, and what South Park's Matt Stone and Trey Parker call and then storytelling, where things don't happen naturally, but happen because the writer needs them to. It stops being a tale filled with characters you can relate to and plots that you're interested in, and just becomes flat-out propaganda trying badly to disguise itself as a story, like a wolf trying to disguise itself as a sheep by writing sheep on its sides. So, in essence, Disney has two problems here. For one, it's trying to package up a story
Nicholas Lee says Mule and Marita Mona, a great example.
That's moved on past that era, and doing so in a way that only speaks to a small group of people who align ideologically with whatever agenda Disney is trying to push. Ultimately, for me, it is really tragic to see Disney take yet another beloved film, and not just a beloved film, but their flagship film, the film that put them on the map, and give it the modern treatment, likely once again stripping it of what made it so magical to begin with. Of course, some of you might feel that I am making this video
Nicholas Lee says I love her videos.
The film hasn't even been released, and I am putting together an opinion based purely on what Rachel Zegler has said in interviews and these trailers and whatnot. But I think that Disney has demonstrated that it doesn't care about its original source material, and it's going to continue creating remakes that don't stand up to the originals in any way, shape, or form. So, of course, I fully understand.
So pretty much what she just told you, they're making skin suits. It's a skin suit. These movies are skin suits. They're not the original. They're just wearing, it's like this. It's like if I bought a game. Okay, it's like if I bought like the latest Sonic video game, got a mod, and put Flash in it and call it the Flash video game. It's a Flash video game, but you see a bunch of Sonic shit. That's literally what is happening here. It's a different movie with the character you want to see. That's literally what that is. It's a skin suit. It pretends to be one thing when it's another thing. So like you can take you can take something like Velma, right? Change the names of the respective characters, and it's the same fucking movie. I mean, show. The only thing, you took the DLC of the skins of the characters and the names. It's the same show. Nothing's changed. Especially the idea that Scooby-Doo's not even in the movie, or in the show. It's kept Scrappy at the far end of the, like, what, the second season or some shit? That's it. It's a skin suit. It is a vehicle to push something that is not there. It pretends it's the...
Nicholas Lee says, yeah.
It's the, what do you call it? The Trojan horse. It pretends to be one thing when it's another thing. That's what that is.
That I can't pass judgment on this film until I have seen it, but in a way, I don't feel like I really have to know that it's going
Janae
to
says I'm good to sleep now.
All right, go Mono.
Disney has already shown us time and time again what it intends to do. And in the end, I am once again incredibly disappointed with the way that this film is likely going to turn out, and I'm even more disappointed knowing that Disney is tarnishing its own legacy. Now, on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder, check out Raycon using the link in the description.
Janae says G and
my
everyone.
link, you will get 15% off site-wide. That's 15% off everything on the website. So go check them out, and big thanks to Raycon for supporting the channel. Now, open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Are you somebody who believes that this remake is not going to be very good because Disney's already told us that it's not going to be good? Do you think that we should give it a chance and we're all kind of passing judgment way too soon? What do you make of the horrible CGI of the dwarves or Rachel Zegler's comments?
But the problem with this is it's not what... Okay. Rachel Zegler even said it's not like the original movie. That's the whole premise. That's the whole point of seeing this movie. You just want to see a modern take of the same movie. It's the same story, but slightly modern. What she told you, it is nothing but modern, and it's not the same movie. Why the fuck would I put my money towards something that is not even what it is? It makes no sense. Why would I do that? Like, the point of me going to see...
Flynn Vassant says, by the way, the bot voice isn't working on YouTube.
It's not? Oh, well, there we go. Got it. Sorry about
Morgan
that.
R said Flynn high rolling.
Fixed
Flynn
it, sorry.
Vassant said, yeah, my superhero subscription.
Superhero
Flynn
subscription.
Vassant said technically it's more if you include the TikTok subscription I had. Morgan R said I am but a humble serf to our liege lord Flynn Vassant. Flynn Vassant said no, I'm not a lord. There is only one Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Morgan R said I see, Flynn. Morgan R said I hope the Apple wins in that movie.
I hope
Flynn Vassant said you
I
can
hope
call
the
me
Apple
a-
wins too. I too hope the Apple wins. Oh shit. I forgot about the Apple. So why the hell would I put my money towards something that is not even what it is? Right? I'm not gonna do that. The reason why the Sam Raimi's movies are very still beloved, even the Andrew Garfield movies are so beloved. I'm not saying Tom Holland isn't, but like the reason why the Spider-Man films from past are still loved to this day is because it stays as close as possible to the source material as best it can, with some modern changes here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what that's the difference between, because like there's no, well, I guess you can say there's variants of like the same story, but most people will always go back to the original because that's usually where they can like jump back to. Like, it's like Batman, right? It's like
Thank
changing
you, that one guy
like
Flynn,
it's like changing
for sending one ex-dolphin.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Thank you, that one guy Flynn, for sending one ex-high bear.
Thank you, bro. It's like changing Batman's origin story. Like, we all know how Batman's origin story starts. He went to the movies with his parents. His parents went down the alley. They ran to a mugger. They got shot because I guess either one, Thomas Wayne wanted to defend his wife because he was trying to take the pearls off his woman's neck. The dude freaked out, or they got into a fight, and then he got shot, and then he shot the woman too and ran away. And then that's how it starts. It's literally simple as that. You know what I'm saying? That is, it doesn't get any more simplistic than that, actually. It's not complicated. There's no overarching anything. It's literally a mugger came, attacked the family, it went wrong, and then that's it. That's it. And then Batman was born after that point. He wanted revenge, or he wanted justice to be served to the people who did him wrong. That's pretty much it. I think the best stories are usually the most simple. They usually are.
About everything.
Just like this is why this is part of why people can just like.
Flynn Vassant asks, I wonder if the new Snow White will have a mugshot.
This is why the idea of like Goku and Superman is always going to be beloved one way or another, because they both have the same origin stories to a certain degree. They're similar, but different. But they're simple. You know what I'm saying? But live very complex, different lives.
To this film, do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are you going to see it? Are you excited to see it?
No.
What do you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you are not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to like this video as well as subscribing to the channel and leaving me a comment, because I do read the majority of them. If you have any video suggestions, feel free to leave me them in the comments as well. And in the meantime, I hope you wonderful, pretty people stay safe and well, and I will see you in the next video.
Bye-bye. Okay. I made this fighter type character. For those who are wondering what I'm drawing, I made this fighter type character for just the hell of it. I don't know if you guys can see it well. What do you guys think? You guys think it's kind of badass? I gave her like the stereotypical Ryu Hayabusa type gloves, Street Fighter type gloves.
Nicholas Lee says I like it.
You like it? Okay, cool. I might do something with this character for a future video or something. So I'm trying to make her look as feminine but not masculine. I want her to look cute, but I want her to look tough at the same time. Something that Disney cannot fucking do. Cannot do it. Oh, fuck. I might put her in different outfits. I'm not sure yet. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zabrevsky, for sending 1x cheer you up.
Thank you, bro. Okay, so the other day I was watching... I'm kind of a fan of Jay the Concept. I actually like his takes. I know some of you may not like him very much.
Let him cook.
On some of the things you've said.
Let him cook now.
But I...
Let him cook.
I understand what he's trying to say.
Sending 1x, let him cook.
Thank you, bro.
Artextric says same.
I like his takes. I believe in what he's trying to say. And I think sometimes it can get a little lost in the sauce, but I believe his videos are pretty good.
Thank you, that one guy Flynn, for sending 1x head and mustache.
Okay, let me see here. Was it this one? What? Wait, it was one of these videos I saw. I wanted to share it with you guys. I don't know, it might get me a little bit in trouble with TikTok, but honestly, I don't really care right now. So I want to see what you guys think on his take on this. Because, like, it's not anything brand new, but it's like, I don't like listening to the same people all the time. Because it's always good to hear, like, a different face. They may say something similar. They may even have a different take.
Zabrevsky says what you got.
So, right here.
Artextric says, you know, I was following him on Instagram before I knew he was YouTube.
Oh, for real? I just followed him on Instagram just the other day. It's completely real now. Okay, was it this? I think it was this video.
Yo, what's going on, people? I want to talk about projection today. Projection is a thing that happens on the internet when a certain side doesn't have your best interest when it comes to a number of topics and conversations, especially social discourses that happens on the internet. Case in point, the left side and the right side. I'm just going to use this as an equation, right? I'm not literally talking about political parties on this point. I'm just going to say you got the left side.
Oh, I just want to say something to everyone here. This is to Flynn. This is to Morgan. This is to Bry. This is to Brewski. This is to everyone who's
Flynn Vassen says you ending stream soon.
Within like an hour.
Zabrevsky says, oh, I know him.
Yeah, like I just want to let everyone know, for the time I've been on streaming, I would like to say I appreciate every last one of you guys for supporting me, sending me gifts and subscribing, and whether it's through YouTube or through Buy Me a Coffee and stuff, I do really appreciate every last one of you guys. It is a blessing to like see you guys every day when I'm getting to stream and just hearing about you guys' days and stuff. I know sometimes I can be very like quiet or like very sometimes just in the zone, and I feel like very standoffish, or I seem like sound like I'm angry, but I'm not. But I just want to let everyone know that I'm very appreciative of every one of you, from viewers to my mods. It's just like being a content creator, it's not easy. But then again, it's not hard too. It's really just how much effort you put into whatever the hell you're trying to do. And I know a lot of you ask me...
says I appreciate it, bro.
No problem, because like I know most of you ask me the question, like for instance, like for this, you guys will ask me like, why don't I do like full-fledged drawings like I used to as I used to? The reason I don't do that is because, well, I feel like it's sometimes a waste of time to just do a full-fledged drawing just to post it to get like 5 likes. I think the drawing has to have more of a reason to be drawn. And for this particular drawing I'm doing this for, I might make this into a draw this in your own style for everyone to use. So I want to see how that actually pulls off. So
Zabrevsky says exactly. You know
what I'm saying?
Always nice to draw along real time with someone else doing the same.
Yeah, so like I wanted to I have always reasons why I do the things I do, from either drawing the anime girls or doing the animatics and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something a little different today. Instead of just drawing a bunch of random sketches, I think this has to, instead of and just posting a speed art, I think I should make this into like a draw this in your own style, just to see what everyone would do. So I'm trying to make something kind of cool, nothing too crazy, but something simplistic but yet interesting. So I want to see what other people will do with this character. I'm not done with her yet, so once she's like completed and I just put like coloring and everything into her and all that stuff, we'll see how she'll come out. I don't know if she's gonna be like a fox girl or a demon or anything.
Zabrevsky says how much are you doing?
How much do you do? Like, you mean paying wise, or you're talking about like how much am I willing to put into the artwork? I think I'm gonna go full out on this one, if that's what you're asking. But like, I don't know. You know what?
Zabrevsky says sorry it's sent before I finished typing, lol.
It's all cool.
Flynn Vassen says, you know what? How are you doing, Artextric? Everyone always asks where's Waldo.
But no one asks how's Waldo. I'm doing well. I'm just because I think sometimes I get too lost into my work, and then I get too hyper focused on something to the point where it seems like I don't care. Like, you guys may think I don't care, or what you have to say is not important. It is important. It's just that I get very like tunnel vision onto what I'm doing. So like, for instance, I'll use an example. So like, say like Zabrowski told me something about, oh, his car broke down today, or a case may be, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, bro, I hope things work out. I know that sounds like a band-aid statement to say, but I'm not saying that just to get past the conversation. It's just that at the time, if Zabrowski were to say that to me, and I'm working on something, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I want to give him my response, but I don't want to like get too lost from what I'm doing at the same time, if that makes sense. But I do have the utmost wanting and care for whoever's watching me, or if they're going through something, that the best do comes to them as best as they can. So if you make like a statement on something, and I feel like you feel like I just kind of like washed you away, like swatted, like whatever you said, whatever you had to say, like a swat away. It's not. It's just I'm just probably just hyper fixated on what I'm doing, because I tend to get, as you guys can see thousands of times, I get distracted by whatever we're listening to, and I go into a far ass rant about absolutely nothing, right? So it's like that. I can get easily distracted by that. Depending on what the subject matter is and how important it is, passionately to me it is. So I just want everyone to know that I genuinely do care about every last one of you who come to my stream, who support, even if you don't even donate money. The fact that you say hi, or just come around and just seeing what I'm doing, that means a lot, especially for men, because a lot of men don't got that in life. They don't have a lot of like, what's the right word? Like a support system, or like someone that look after them, or care about them to a degree, because they don't have no one most cases, because most men are usually extremely alone, and sometimes doing artwork alone can be very lonely. That's why sometimes when you guys see me up at night, it's not even that because I want to stream, it's just because I just don't want to draw alone. Oh no, there we go. But anyway, so yeah.
Side, and then you got the right side, all right? The right side are people like me. If you guys been following my content, I'm more of a center person who veers, depending on where the common sense lies. I will go either direction. It just has to make sense. But if it doesn't make sense, then I'm gonna stay my ass in the middle and I'm gonna observe, right? Recently, there's been a couple things that has just been
face reveal.
Flynn Vassen says face reveal.
Art is not subjective, right? And I was talking about this picture right here. About how I said that this person who did this drawing disrespected the original picture, which is this, because the character originally is not fat. The character is not fat, so that's just like somebody doing fan art of me, right? This is common sense, but I'm gonna say it again because people are having a tough time picking this up, apparently. If somebody did fan art of me as a way to, because they saw me, whatever like that, I'm a celebrity, whatever the fuck, right? I'm not a celebrity, but I'm saying if I was, and they did a fan art of me, and they made me fatter, They made me have Cheeto dust all over my top, and my hair all fucked up. I look uglier, and they presented it to me,
Morgan
right?
R said,
And they say, "Hey, I did a redesign of Jada
I looked
Concept." Do you think
respectfully.
anybody will take that as a flattering
It's
thing,
fine.
or they will be like, "Why the fuck would you do this? Why do you hate me so much? Like, why would you do that to me if you're doing fan art of me, right?" I'm not saying you're a bad artist. I'm saying what you did was intentionally, purposely ugly. I think if I explain that to anybody in person, this would just be common sense. This wouldn't be even debatable.
I think so.
The point is, right? Since then,
yeah. So it makes sense of what he's saying. So like for instance, like if I'm doing a fan art of like say Morgan or like oh, perfect example. I did a artwork of Flynn. I think it was supposed to be a Flynn, a chibi drawing of Flynn. And if I purposely make him look unattractive on purpose and say this is you, and try to gaslight you saying, "Oh no, I'm not trying to make you look ugly."
Flynn Vassen says, yeah.
Right? It would be a dick move to do that, right? That's what he's trying to say here. Like you see the drawing here for what it is, right? And this is the original drawing, right here. As you can see, like this is the original drawing, right? And because the original drawing's there, I draw it in my so-called quote-unquote style, but I purposely make her bigger. I change her skin color, and everything that was the character. That's like me taking Goku, shaving his head off, making him 300 pounds, and also changing his skin pale, and then giving him neon green eyes, and then saying that's Goku. What the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost disrespectful to an nth degree. It's like you're trying to gaslight me and thinking that what you're doing is somewhat original. It's not original. You're just an asshole. Like think of it closely on that. It's like I take your character like I did with your fave artist, right? I take your character and she wants me to draw your character. And remember, she's not asking me to redesign her character. She just wants me to draw the character in quote unquote my style, right? So instead of just drawing it for what it is, I change every aspect about it. Are you still on
Flynn
Twitch?
Vassen says, are you still on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm still on Twitch. And Kick. But yeah. That's the problem right there. That's what he's trying to say here, and the people are not getting this. And I understand what he's coming from. This is why I don't like changing characters unless one, it was asked to be changed, and two, if I was expected to change aspects of a character, I would change small aspects, but nothing huge. Nothing that makes their character looks completely different from what it was supposed to be from before, right? So I wouldn't take Cyclops from X-Men and take away his visor and give him like a fishbowl head. Like a literal fishbowl head. Like I know they kind of did that in the comics with that thing going on, but I think he turned into a villain, so it kind of makes sense why they changed a little bit of what he looked like. But what I'm saying is, like, if this is supposed to be the Cyclops from the X-Men animated show or from the X-Men comics that everyone know and love, the last thing I'm going to make him look is like change his skin color, change his hair color, make him wear a big fishbowl head like what do you call it? Who's that Spider-Man villain? Fuck, starts with an M. But he's wearing a big fishbowl hat. He's missing a leg, and he has a robot arm, and I don't know. Fuck, he has vertigo or some shit. That's not Cyclops. What the fuck is that? That's not Cyclops. What are you talking about? That is not Cyclops. That's someone completely different. And try to pass him off as this is like, and then people will say and gaslight you saying, what's the big deal? It's the same character. If it's the same exact character, there's more reason not to change him. Like if you're trying to gaslight me to think that's the same character when it's, you know that's not. Come on, bro.
There's been a whole lot of projection coming out. And I just want to touch on this topic on projection anyway, on a number of different topics, not just the one that I was talking about during the video before. I'm going to show you numerous instances on people just doing projection. And I'm going to tell you why they do it. Because it's the same lame individuals, and it's more creepier than you think on why they actually project. because it's actually
When
their
I think about it, no, I think it was you, Bri, that brought up Jade the concept to me, I think.
thought process rather than yours. But they try to do it onto them, do it on you for very specific reasons. We're going to get into that. I'm going to touch on the one from this video. So, since we're already talking about this character, I don't know who this character's name is. I guess her name is Varessa or some shit like that. This is her original design, right?
So.
And this is what...
Yeah, I think it... Well, I don't think you mentioned him. I remember I ran to his video, and I remember you said, oh, I know him, I watch him. I was like, oh, you watch him? I was like, and you said, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, so if I watches him, I'll definitely watch him.
She did to it, correct? I started getting comments on my video, so I knew this was coming. I knew the projection was going to come.
Because I was looking for content. I remember I was looking for content to like react to, or at least like have something to play in the background for us to like have a conversation about. And I remember I ran into his video and I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. And then you was like, oh, I watch him. I was like, okay, if Bri watches him.
Flynn Vasson says I don't think Twitch has a bot voice.
It doesn't? Hold on, let me see. That's weird. Oh, wait, am my thing connected? Hold on. Let me see. I don't, is it connected? I'll check, hold on.
Because apparently, I think this girl is young. She looks young, right? She looks like she's about, you know, like, she looks like she's underage. Let's just put it like that. Or if she's not underage, she looks like she's...
Twitch is not connected.
That line of being, I would say, legal or not legal. I don't know. I don't give a fuck, really. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this, right? I basically made a simple thing. Like, you making her fat is disrespecting her, right? She doesn't look the same. You completely went outside the round to make her look uglier. Fair enough,
Flynn
right?
Vasson says he disconnected.
Guess what I started saying in the comment section? I already knew they was going to say this. Sorry that you don't like chubby women. More for me. The motherfucker who doesn't draw is complaining about a drawing of a chubby character as an actually chubby character. What the fuck does that even mean? Okay, the point is this, right? This person right here is saying, sorry that you don't like chubby women. More for me. Nobody is saying they don't like chubby women. Nobody's saying that. So where'd you get that from? See, this projection delusional bullshit just coming out of nowhere. Nobody said that they didn't like chubby women if that woman was presented chubby to begin with. If that woman is presented chubby to begin with, right? And she was a popular character that everybody knew and nothing changed about her and she was chubby, nobody would be saying anything. It's the fact she went from this
says, to be
original
honest,
design
a little bit
that
of
Genshin
chubby
Impact wanted to do.
Me.
That's not a big deal. I don't think that's a big deal, to be honest. If she's a little on the, I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. Like if it's like, for me, she's not like, what's the right word? If she's not like, obviously not healthy, that's one thing.
To this,
if you get what I'm saying.
How fucking hard is it to understand that? I don't understand. Well, yeah, I do understand. Projection happens
because if you talk to someone like Lizzo doesn't want a dude who's overweight. She has now lost weight, which is funny. See how that's the ultimate grift. These not all women, I guess, but these women here who are like celebrity women who go on that I'm big beautiful train, and then when they get some cash, they get a personal trainer. Why is that? Why do they get a personal trainer as being big and beautiful? Is all that? Is you know what I'm saying? You make it make sense. Meghan Trainor, Adele, fucking Missy Elliott. What's her name? Fucking Lizzo. Who else? I think even the Precious woman. I think she's the Precious lady. I forgot her name. You notice that every time when they get buku money, like literal like Hollywood money, they get a personal trainer. Why is that? Why do you need a personal trainer? I thought being big and beautiful is the whole point. No, it's what happens is they get a medical scare and they start realizing, oh shit, I actually like the money I'm making. Maybe getting a personal trainer is not bad.
People are being dishonest. When people are being dishonest, they know what the truth is. They know why you're pissed. Or they know why you might have a problem with it. It's because they're trying to protect people who have this messaging involved. It's called projection. So they project the worst. Nobody says anything about wanting to fuck this woman. Nobody said anything about wanting to look at this woman in a sexual manner. Nobody said anything about wanting to basically have this character look good because I want my horniness to be. Nobody said anything like that. This is what y'all say. Sorry you don't like chubby women, more from me. Which means that he's basically saying this in a sexual manner, like he want chubby women in a sexual light. Because you said more from me. So you like, so you want chubby woman. So this does it for you, right?
Him saying it over and over again is kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie.
So if anything, you're actually being the creepy one because you brought up this character in a sexual manner when I didn't even do that. I'm talking about it strictly from an artistic point of view. But this is what this projection does. You're basically trying to sexualize a character who looks like a child. That's you. So for y'all bringing up, oh yeah, here's another one too. You're a mid-gooner slap artist. I maybe not speak on other people's art. So he's calling me a mid-gooner artist as in a way to basically saying that my art is connected to how this character looks. I didn't connect that with my shit compared to this. To tell you the truth, this isn't gooner. This is just a character who looks like a child and it's a cute design. There's nothing goonery about this design at all. So are you telling me you're thinking that way or me? So you see how this is going right now? So let me show you. Okay, we're not done yet. So that's what I want to touch base on with this, but it gets worse. Tides of Annihilation just came out, right? I already knew where this was going to as well. As soon as the characters look good, guess what happens? The people on the other side who are completely against their thought process or our thought process, right? Because we want shit to go back to normal how it was before. Good looking characters that look better than normal people because we're paying money. We want to try to escape reality. And we don't want to see ugly ass normal looking characters. We want to see characters that look like superheroes, right? The people who are insecure, who actually project their own insecurities on other people, care about whether these characters look good or not because it challenges their imperfections. And it makes them, because they're narcissistic, they have to see themselves so that they won't be, I would say, feel small. If they see a character that looks better than them on TV or in a video game or in a movie or whatever the fuck you want to say, right? They feel smaller because they looking at a character that looks like something they can never achieve. So that's the reason why they do this bullshit right here. Tides of Annihilation. So this is the tweet, right, that this person is actually talking about. This is a woman right here, just to let you know who's actually tweeting this. She said, of course it'll be Chinese developers making better looking white women than Western devs, which is actually fucking true. Because they got the agenda to where they're trying to have fat, undesirable bitches being able to see themselves in video games now. So they're trying to make characters ugly as possible to make those normal, average looking, lazy bitches or people in general just to hit that threshold. That's the reason why they're making characters ugly over here in the West, is so that the people who are insecure can see themselves in people that you're not supposed to see yourselves in. You're not supposed to see yourselves in people that are superheroes, that are people who are larger than life characters. You're not supposed to see yourself. You're supposed to be inspired by these people. I keep being inspired by a fat Superman. I keep being inspired by an ugly.
I really don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. How do you get inspired by that? Maybe it's just me. I couldn't get inspired by that.
Superhero chick. What is there to work for? What is there to work towards? There is nothing to work towards. That's why Asian people get it, because they make their characters look very attractive on purpose so that people can be like, damn, I want to be like that. Damn, I want to look like that. And females vice versa. Damn, I want to look sexy like that. Damn, I want to be like that. Damn, she look beautiful. I want to look like that. That's what those characters are meant for. But because us in America have this thought process of everybody wins a trophy bullshit, right? So everybody has to fit the same spectrum of basicness. So we got a lot of basic ass looking characters over here in the West. That's the reason why everybody looks ugly over here, because of the standard that was set for us. Tides of Annihilation feels like a throwback to the 2000s, people saying about Stellar Blade too. Beautiful characters, an intriguing story, and solid gameplay. So refreshing to see games like this. This is what gamers want. And this is a woman saying this, right? Guess what happens underneath? Roberto.
I can hear it now. There you go.
I think this is a guy. This has to be a guy. AKA Gooner material for incels like you. What in Tides of Annihilation looks like Gooner material to you besides a woman who looks attractive? She's not even fucking, I would say, like Stella Blake sexy. It's not even close. So what are you, where's your Gooner mindset? Oh, you think of her that way. So any female that looks remote, okay, listen, let me tell you what guys do who do this type of shit too. Because guys on this side, their PP goes up as soon as they see a woman that looks semi-attractive because they haven't been around real women. They automatically start to project.
He said the PP go up. Why do they use PP?
Bright Troclo said Lamar.
Bro, why you have to use the word PP? Like, I don't understand. That shit funny. He said PP go up.
because they know what the climate conversation is right now. They like, oh my God, this shit actually gets me hard. So I have to project that energy on somebody else and basically say, ha, you just like this because it's gooner shit, you fucking loser, even though he's the one jacking his shit off. These people are the ones getting their pee-pees up. Little pee-pee getting up because you saw a beautiful woman, so you have to project it onto somebody else. That's what happened to you? See, this, I don't let internet losers do this to me. Because y'all literally come to other people's comment sections and try to basically white knight for ugly basic bitches. This sentence right here is basically like you trying to white knight to an ugly basic bitch to hope that they see you fighting their war. Because they're basic and ugly and they're lazy to try to achieve this level of attractiveness. All of a sudden, you're going to try to, you didn't even realize you were shaming a woman. These people are retarded, but this is what they do.
Hey, wait, well, calm down. I forgot he says that. What's calm down? Calm down. Hey, calm down. Hold up, let's let that sit out for a little bit. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay. I wonder.
Artextric says regarded Jade.
Carrot the boss. Carrot said that was funny.
That was funny. Okay. Okay. So I was thinking I've made her into a fighter type, but like, you know what I want to do? I might add something kind of cool to this. I'm gonna let it sit for like 2 minutes. I think I might give her like a. Is there a word for this? Like, okay. Okay, you know, like you have like Digimon Frontier, and you have like Shaman King, and then you have like fuck, what's another show that does this? Like how they kind of like morph. They have like a spiritual guardian thing going on. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like how Minamaru, I think his name is Minamaru, with Yo, and then you have like the Digimon tamers where they have like they can transform back and forth to each other. Is there a word for this? I don't know if there's a word for this. Oh fuck, here we go. Hate speech violation, but could result in your being discontinued. Shut up. What, patronus? A patronus? A patronus? Patronus?
Artextric says no, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so we need to look up, what is a genre? Okay, let me look at what, okay. What
Morgan R
is...
said Harry Potter joke. Carrot the boss. Carrot said fire arrow.
Hey, Carrot, what is Shaman King genre?
Nightbot said be a support hero today by using commands like /donation.
Okay, so it says Shaman King is an anime series that's considered as an adventure and spiritual supernatural genre. There must be more to that, right? Okay, so what would I call something like, okay, fuck, what do, Okay, you see how, like, how in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure they have stands, and then, like, Shaman King, they have, like, spirits and shamans and shit. Is there a term for this? Where they combine powers together to, I guess, power up to fight other characters? Is there, like, a term for this? There must be a term for this, right? Oh, the restriction thing went away. That was fast. Maybe because I stopped what was going on. Let me see. What genre is JoJo Bizarre Adventure considered? Shit, is under all these shits?
Artextric said maybe Japan.
Artextric says maybe Japan have a word for it, but I don't know.
Morphing, yeah.
Morphing?
Ethan Flynn 1 asks, would you like to see the progress of the medieval doggo?
Yeah, you can.
Morganar said Power Rangers do it.
Well, I wouldn't. Okay, the reason why I make it the reason why I kind of don't put Power Rangers in the same category as what I'm trying to say is because Power Rangers, how can I say it? Power Rangers and like say Ben 10 are kind of like the same because they just
Carrot
use
B.
the
Boss. Carrot
they use
said
it.
that's a good idea.
They use it as a weapon, right? To transform out, right? Transform in and out, right? But the difference between like something like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and like Shaman King, that what makes them the same is that the spirits that they're dealing with are usually very much alive. Does that make sense? Like they're very much alive and they have their own like self-awareness, consciousness. So they have to be like one with another mind. Does that make sense? I think there's a difference. Cause like powering up into like a superhero outfit like Power Rangers and turning into a alien, Ben is not having conversations with like his aliens unless I'm not aware of this, of the new like Ben 10. He just changes to them, right? I don't know if there's a term for this.
Morganar said a
Summons? Okay, maybe a summons. Yeah, maybe summons is the right
Flynn
word.
Vassen says check out artwork so far if you want on Discord.
Yeah, I'll definitely look. But summon like anime genre is that what it's called? Summon like anime genre images. I'm getting a bunch of how not to summon a demon lord. I guess Yu-Gi-Oh kind of counts for this because Yugi and Yami talk to each other. Or like wait, no, I can't use that.
Morganar said or a familiar.
Or a familiar, there we go, like a familiar. Okay. Familiar anime shows genre. Okay, I'm kind of getting something different. I'm getting fairy tale. I guess a familiar. Fuck it, I'll call it that. Like a blood pact familiar. That's what it is. That's what I'm trying to go for. I kind of like those type of animes a little bit more.
Said there's also Lucy from Fairy Tale.
Yeah, like she used a bunch of familiars. I put it in the Google, but I'm getting like a bunch of different like type of anime. There's fairy tale pops up, but like
Morganar said, "Oh, cool, like Chainsaw Man."
I wouldn't. Well, I guess the little saw thing is a familiar. I guess that counts, and it is
Carrot
alive.
Boss.
So
Carrot said like in JJK.
JJK. Yeah, like when I'm pretty sure those animals are like. I think they're alive. They're curses, but I think they are technically like aware. That work with the dude with the hair. What's his name? Oh my god. What's his name? Itadori's friend, what's the fuck his name? Fushiguro, there you go. Shit, I could not think of fuck. So I'm going to try something different. I'm gonna try make
Samurai said like Belle from Black Clover.
Bell.
Ryuga Samurai said Megumi.
Bell. Megumi. Yeah. Bell. Who's Bell again? Bell. Black Clover. Bell. Black Clover. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the fairy. Why can't I remember her name?
Ryuga Samurai said Bell Yodo's wind spirit.
Yeah, the wind spirit. That's what I mean. They're like summons or familiars. I think that's the right term. Okay, you put it in the art section. Okay, let's see what he got. So that's his dog. Did you try to put like what do you call those things? A saddle? I think it's a saddle. You put a saddle on his back? I think it's supposed to be a saddle. I think it looks like it's supposed to be a saddle. Like you put on a horse? I think.
Morganar said that is a saddle.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it's a saddle. I could be wrong. I think it's a saddle. It's a saddle! I think. I use pen. Love the dedication.
Flynn Vassen says it's not a saddle.
It's
It's
a
gonna be a
banner.
banner.
It's gonna be a banner.
Carrot D Boss. Carrot said why he looked like that.
What kind of banner are we going for? Like, what does that look like? You gotta send me a reference of that.
Towards children, towards regular attractive women, to white people. Watch this. This is how far these narcissistic people.
Okay, Jay. It's not that I don't want to hear you, but you
That
want...
one guy Flynn said I have
Flynn
no
Vassen
reference.
says I have no reference.
Okay, I would use a reference.
Projections go, right? When you see this video right here, when you see this video
Okay,
right here, of a guy putting ice water in the middle of the desert for coyotes to drink, right? This nice guy is, just put, it's dry heat out here. Coyotes probably thirsty. There's probably not water for miles and shit, right? So this guy who's walking around the wilderness is like, it'd be nice. Let me put this shit out here so coyotes can actually drink water to be hydrated because there's, it's like probably dryness out here, right? What would you think a negative thing to say about this video would be? What do you think a person would say about this video that would be negative? I want you to think for a second before I show you this.
I really don't know. This is the part of video I did not see. I only saw part of this video and left because I said, I'll play this in stream.
Carrot D Boss. Carrot said, hey, can I pay to make art and how?
Hey, can I pay to make art and how? Wait, are you asking to pay me to make art? Or for you? Or are you asking me how do you make money from
That
art?
one guy
Flynn Vassen says, you know what, I might do some reference for a symbol to give me an idea.
Good idea.
Because you're not going to believe this. You want to see it? Okay. White people would be kind to everything but black people.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's white people who are very nice to black people. What are you talking about?
Carrot D Boss. Carrot said yes.
There's also a lot of black people who are really kind to white people. What are you talking about? The fuck? What is this person on?
The delusion and the retardation.
Oh God, I can't. I can't. I know he's making a point, but I can't. Like, oh Jay, you're gonna get me in trouble. I may have to change it. At least with Kyle, he at least replaces. How can I pay you to make art? Oh, okay.
Said, how can I pay you to make art?
For you to pay me to make art, you have to go to the link tree in the Discord. You go to the link tree in the descriptions, and then you go to the okay, let me just show you just so it's not a big confusion. So like say you're on TikTok, right? You see this thing here? This link tree Artextric? Yeah, go here. Hold on. Click on that. Once you click it, you'll see all my stuff from Buy Me a Coffee to AnimeArt channel to gaming channel, which I gotta promote that more. The React channel, and then right here, this is how you pay me. You pay me through Cash App. So you go here in the menu, you click here. I'm this way because I want to show my face because I'm ugly as fuck. So anyway, so right here, you see here, you click that, and it'll show you the menu, what you want to see, and it gives you all the what you can get and stuff like that. This is the menu we designed. I made prices cheaper, so it makes it easier for everyone because my prices was a lot higher than before. But I think if I made it a bit cheaper, it made it more easier for people who want to buy. So if you want to check here, these are my examples on how you get this. Or so. I know this is empty. You might ask the question, why are these empty? I am working on the V2ing models. I'm trying to get skin in. So I can put like the dummies in here so you can see as a menu, but these are the prices for the VTubing model. I mean, not VTubing, for the character design. VTubing's over here, my bad. It'll say right here, like Chibi, VTubing, PNG model, illustration, bust, everything. And all that great stuff. So pretty much that. So yeah. But I hope that helped. So like you literally go here, you click on, you don't have to go here. You don't have to go to TikTok if you don't want to. But it is the link in the description on YouTube. It's in my link in the description in the Instagram. It's the link in the description in the TikTok, or the bio that we have to call it. So you can't really miss it. So if you're watching it from YouTube, the link is in there. You can click that if you're on the phone. I mean on the computer. If you're on the phone, I don't know if it's gonna look the same. You can just click it, but if you can't, just go to my channel and then you can find it there. If that helps. But yeah. So once you open that, like I said, you can see here, you just pay me through here. I do use PayPal, but I usually tell my clients not to use it because they're paying more because of the stupid fees. Unlike Cash App, there's no real fees at all. I have not run into a situation where I have to pay fees when you're sending money, so that's the best part. So, you know, no fees there. So if you want to use that, that's perfectly fine too. It's up to you. All that great stuff. So.
It's fucking amazing. This right here.
I don't know if I should play this because it's going to cause me trouble. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play this video, but you guys may have to hear it over here. I may have to mute TikTok, I think. I don't know. Because like R bombs are the best, are the worst. Like it's weird how you can say you can't say the R word here, like for like on TikTok, but Jay can say the N word like every 5 seconds. Isn't that weird? It's weird.
Here, single-handedly made me want to make this video.
Carrot.
I have never.
The first episode of One Piece.
Play the first. I can't sadly on stream.
Ryuga Samurai said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm gonna mute TikTok. If you're watching, just watch and I work on the thing. But if you're trying to listen, come over here on YouTube because like I want to hear what he has to say, but like I don't want to cause any more trouble because I already got warning, so I don't want to piss off TikTok. So I'm gonna put myself on mute for a minute. I'm not stopping the stream. I'm just putting myself on mute. Anyway, here we go.
Seen this level of retardation.
See, that's why.
In my life. This right here is projection 101. You saw a video of a person putting water out for coyotes, and you thought about white people being kind to black people? This level of retardation only happens on the internet. This level of projection only happens on the fucking internet.
By using
there is no other place where this shit exists. You wouldn't get these comments right here. You wouldn't get the unrealistic expectation of saying this right here is not better than this right here. That only happens on the internet because in real life, people actually show who they really are and they actually tell the truth. You won't get replies like this where people will say this bullshit. Projection is only for people who think bullshit because of their insecurities, because their own insecurities. That's it. That's the only way projection exists. What the fuck does this have to do with white people being kind to black people? What the fuck does me saying this character is uglier than this character has anything to do with Gunnar? Anything. Sexual. Anything. Nobody brought up sexual shit about this character. You did. Nobody brought up Gunnar shit for Tides of Annihilation. You did. Nobody brought up racist shit about fucking feeding coyotes in the desert. You did. Nobody brought up anything about a black character in South of Midnight and how about that being a problem and the reason why South of Midnight is going to suck. You did. I didn't say not one thing about this character's race in this video, in its entirety of the video. You did. Don't let these people do this to you. The reason why they do it is very obvious. These people are the real weirdos and losers. Don't let them do that to you. Weirdo.
I don't know. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because, like, it's people project hard.
That one guy, Flynn.
Flynn
Said I got
Vassen
an
says
update
I
on
got
the
an
squiggly
update on the
corgi.
squiggly corgi.
Alright. I'll look at it in 2 seconds.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And there is a petition going around to try to keep Hollywood in Hollywood, to keep LA in LA. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the fires, I guess, and the effect that it has had on Hollywood movie production. Things were already in a bad place before the fires. And I think a lot of the studios now are looking at moving production out of the state.
They were before this.
They were. So this just speeds it up, And now we got Hollywood kind of begging Hollywood to stay. I don't know how it's going to go because we also have talk of California leaving the United States again for the 27th or 28th
I know,
time.
right?
But we'll talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to clownfishminus.com, join the reef, check out our merch, and also you can join here on YouTube and on Locals. Thank you very much. So we haven't really been kicking California while they're down very much since the fires because it is tragic. A lot of people have lost their homes, their livelihoods. But now we're looking at the prospect of rebuilding, and it might just be more cost effective for studios to be like, hey, let's just go to like Nevada or something.
Well, they were trying to attract another state.
Flynn Vassen says if anyone wants to react on Discord, feel free. I love critics
more
too.
tax
That guy
benefits
Flynn
than
said
the
if
LA
anyone
area.
wants to react on Discord, feel
Just
free.
a month or two
I
before
love
the
critics
fires,
too.
they had this article out on filmtake.com. Production is fleeing LA, how poor policies are pushing producers away. And it's just very expensive, cost prohibitive. And now we got to contend with fires, cataclysmic fires. And I don't think Hollywood's ever, I'm going to be honest, I do not believe Hollywood is ever going to come back to where it was. I do not believe the entertainment industry is going to be centralized in Hollywood anymore. I think you might have the HQ in California, but the actual production, I think, is going to be outsourced all over the country, all over the world.
Well, I know that LA, they were trying to get ready for the Olympics in 2028. So I think they had some stuff set aside to do that. So they might be able to rebuild things quickly. But it'd be really, really tacky to just only rebuild the Hollywood stuff. You know what I mean? To try to get that quickly. I just don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if they have enough money to rebuild like that fast.
It's again, this is just going by what they're saying on the news. I have no idea. I haven't lived in California for years, but they're saying with all the red tape, it's going to take 3 to 5 years minimum to be able to start rebuilding the parts of LA.
I think they'll speed it up a little bit because, like I said, it's the Olympics. But they might lose it now. Who knows?
I don't know. We've been talking about the decline anyway, but now we have, according to the Wrap, we have a whole campaign to stay in LA. 15,000 signatures.
Okay, wait. When you have to,
let's be clear. We'll end the stream after this video.
What do they call those? Change.org type situation. Petitions with celebrities. It's bad.
Maybe they should sing. Maybe they should come up with a song like, we didn't start the fire. No. But like,
we own the world. We own your children.
Oh no. Look, and again, not trying to make light of the fire, but like this is, if I were a business owner in LA, unless I had personal ties there and I absolutely positively had to stay, I'd be like, you know what? Literally
Flynn Vassen says I'm not finished, but I'll finish
so many
later.
reasons.
Okay.
Right? Florida's looking better. Texas is looking better. It's all looking better. Yeah, they got change. Is that what this is? Oh my god.
I was joking, but
that's
it's
what I think it is.
Similar. Are you serious? I was kidding.
StayInLA.org. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say they wouldn't go. I mean, these are A-listers. They can't lower themselves to change.org.
No. They have to have their own site. Okay, so supporters of the Stay in LA campaign have more than doubled.
Flynn Vassen says got a rating on Artextric.
With several A-listers throwing their weight behind the petition.
I'll scale from a scale of 1 to 10. Again, you put a saddle. I'll give it a 4. Like at first it was like a 3. No, actually no, it's like a 2. Then I jumped it up to like a that's not even 4. Put a 6. I'll put a 6 for effort on that one.
Bette Midler, Patty Jenkins. I thought, wasn't Bette Midler going to leave the country? No, I guess she's staying.
Apparently not.
Ryan Johnson, Kevin Bacon, Joey King, yada, yada, yada. LeVar Burton, Alex Winter. So we got Bill and Ted, both signed. Connie Britton, Jason Reitman, Charlie. Okay. They joined a growing list of supporters that in just 3 days, that's actually not bad. 3 days have pushed the number of signatures from 6,000 to 14,729.
Okay, but no one's telling them they have to leave LA. They can stay in LA.
Yeah,
if they want to. They want it to be rebuilt. Okay, great. So you're signing a paper to do what? Because it's great you're rich, but what about everybody else?
They're signing a petition for California politicians and studios to help our beloved city rebuild itself and ensure LA's future viability as a place where craftspeople, film workers, and businesses thrive.
Okay, so basically we want the studios and the politicians to pay for us to rebuild our stuff so we stay here.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to like it, the people listening to this who are living in LA, I'm going to tell you as a business owner, sometimes when the business burns down, that is a sign that you have an out. You have the insurance money, and you have the impetus to move someplace else. And be like, you know what, this is going to keep happening.
Flynn Vassen says any critics.
And the cost of living and the cost of doing business here is astronomical, and now we can leave.
Usually they don't criticize. I noticed that most people don't criticize unless it's like a woman. But that's just my experience.
Because they bring it up later, which it's not new. They've tried this before. They want to uncap the tax incentive for the productions that shoot in Los Angeles County that urges studios and streamers to pledge at least 10% more productions to LA. Basically, you showed that article a bit ago, they want you to give them the same tax breaks that other places give them, so the studios stay there.
Right.
But that was already in play before the fire, so in a way you're kind of leveraging the fire, saying you want to rebuild LA for people, but it's mostly so that you can keep filming stuff in LA.
Well, as I understand it, Trump wanted to give them money. Will they take Trump bucks? Will Bette Midler take Trump bucks?
I don't know.
If it means that LA gets rebuilt, I don't know.
I never noticed that they never made like a coin or a quarter or a nickel or anything after Obama. Kind of find that funny.
Because he, as of last night, apparently is piping water in from Northern California to Southern California. I'm just saying, will Hollywood accept his help? Or are they going to just be like, no, we don't want anything to do with that fascist? You know?
I know. It's like these conventions here saying we don't want any Nazis here, but they won't tell people they voted for Trump not to come to their event because they want their money.
Yeah.
But they actually hate you, but they want your money.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be really interesting, and this kind of goes along with what we were talking about yesterday with animation. For a lot of studios, not saying everybody, but for a lot of studios, they were already looking at outsourcing, and they're going to take this as a sign to get the hell out of Dodge. Because
even if they rebuild it, they want to keep the money there the next 3 years, but it's going to take at least that long to rebuild. So if you don't have people with homes or places, you don't have your staff that you need, because you have the celebrities, right? But you have hundreds and thousands of people work on films besides celebrities, and if they don't have places to live, and they have to leave the area, or they can't. They don't have a place to go home to. How are you going to hire them to work to do that? You know what I mean? By the time you get 3 years is up, if you're just now starting to get things rebuilt, it's already past that time, and by then they've already sent all the production someplace else.
Yeah, Nevada's looking pretty good for a lot, and it's not that far, right? And you can move to Nevada, you can move to Texas. I think what is going to happen, and the fires just sped up the inevitable, is that Hollywood is going to be decentralized. The entertainment industry is going to be decentralized.
That's a good thing.
I personally
think
that's a
good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, because if it's decentralized, there's not a bunch of, you can't work in Hollywood anymore.
Says it's the bot like every other chat or something.
It depends. Okay. So the bot that you're hearing is from the Caster Labs. I only have them both on because one likes to turn off the new over the other.
Carrot, said big guy.
Super dog, big guy.
Because again, when you put all your eggs into one basket and the handle of the basket breaks, you're in trouble. But it's also going to give opportunities, I think, to people all over the country who maybe wanted to get into the entertainment business, but they did not want to move to California. Now, it's not saying everybody is going to move out of California. I just think that it's never going to come back the way that it was is never going to be the absolute hub of all entertainment.
Flynn
in the
Vasson
US
says
and the
any
world.
advice on my
agree
drawing?
with you.
Spread out.
I see here, I'm reading this, it says Newsom
Mostly,
was
it just
already...
it mostly stems from a bunch of situations of shape and form. It usually just falls under shape and form. You need to work on your shapes and your forms. It's not even the dog anatomy. I would put that out the window for right now. I would just get the shapes and forms in check. So like, for instance, like say the ears are triangular, so you need to capture that triangle and make sure that it is rounded. And you put lines that wrap around that to give it that sense of ear. So if I drew an ear here, I'm making the triangle, but I'm also putting the lines here to make it more 3D. That's the point. So.
Is increasing California's film and tax
Flynn Vasson
to
says
$750 million
okay.
annually, and they're trying to argue that that if we have more money, we keep it here, more people are employed. But the flip side is you're asking more Californians to pay taxes that are turning around and giving the tax breaks to the wealthy studios.
Yeah, and a lot of Californians. So this is the thing too, and we'll segue into this. Cal exit. Now they're calling for California to secede from the union.
LA, San Francisco, those places are. I guarantee you not all of California is.
And like, look, this is not the first time this has happened at all. But it's just so
I already have an idea what he's
rebuild California. You're probably going to need federal help. And now you're like, let's just cut ourselves off from the rest of the country. So what do you think is going to happen? More people are going to leave California because they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not making movies just for California. I'm going to go make money in the other 49 states, and that's definitely going to be the kill shot if they do that. But yeah, this was just a couple days ago. There's a new bid to place a measure on the ballot that would ask California voters to approve the state's secession from the U.S., and it's been cleared for signature gathering. So this is Secretary of State Shirley Weber announced Thursday that a measure introduced by Marcus Evans of Fresno must receive more than 500,000 signatures by July. According to the text of the measure, the state would be required to create a 20-member state commission to study California's viability as an independent country in 2027 and publish a report the following year. TLDR, California can't survive on its own. Let's be honest.
Well, it's funny. What they're saying that it would go on the ballot in 2028. Interesting. That 3 or 4 years after they take all kinds of federal money to rebuild themselves.
As Trump can't run for office again.
And then, they're going to rebuild themselves, use all the money, and then we're not part of you anymore. Then you should give the money back.
If the ballot question is approved, the proposal would declare a vote of no confidence in the U.S., but would not change the state's government or its relationship with the U.S. Wait, what? The measure would also call for the removal of the U.S. flag from all state buildings. Oh my God. So this is not the first time this has happened.
Go screw yourself. Don't care.
If you go out to Wikipedia, they said that there were 27 significant proposals prior to the 21st century that they were going to leave.
Basically, every time they don't get what they want, every time someone else wins, they have a little hissy fit and threaten to leave. I'm not seeing the downside, really. I feel bad. A lot of people in California are not Democratic, but they're not in the cities. Cities go Democrat. So.
Right. So California is weird. It really does feel like two states. I grew up partly in Northern California.
Instead of making him to like a familiar spirit or something, I should make him into mecha spirits. Mechanical spirits. Oh, that sounds fucking cool. That sounds cool. It's mecha robots that can contain spirits within them. Ooh. And based how they're contained will show how they will represent themselves as a mecha. Ooh. I think I just thought of myself a new anime. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Which is very, very different from Southern California, which is where my stepdad's family is from. And you only went to Southern California, so you're like, man, I hate it. I'm like, oh, but Northern California, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, it was great. Northern California was great. We lived about an hour outside San Francisco, north of San Francisco, in Contra Costa County. It was great. That being said, it was also a lot more conservative up there than it was down south. Except until you go into San Francisco, Berkeley and stuff like that. But they didn't seem as crazy as they are now. But it was a very
Are they
different
pooping in the
vibe.
streets?
I'm sure they were.
Flynn
but we didn't
Vassen
lose
says,
as
what do
much.
you do to make it look more hairy?
I don't know. I think they had people cleaning it up. I have no
I would
idea.
add more fur like this.
But they were talking
Put
about
spaces between
cutting
them.
California in half back then.
So, like, if I
And
wanted
my
a character
stepdad, as I recall, was actually on board with this because he's like,
to look more
we
hairy.
shouldn't have to bankroll the insanity of Los Angeles in Northern California. Like, we should not have to
Well, I
do
guess
that.
people are going to think now too. It's like LA.
Like, if I want something to look more hairy,
$$150 million
like this.
Tax incentives for like the studios, that means everybody else in California is going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
But the flip side is, you know, they need to do something because otherwise all the jobs are going other places and then no one has a job, you know, so in that area.
That's true. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, wait a second. So Trump is talking about taking Canada and taking Greenland, and you think you're going to be able to pull California away from the U.S.?
I would make it more based on space.
Like I said,
so, like,
going to vote for 3
or you don't have to
years
make them
from now,
spiky. You can make them
NASA
kind
said
of furry by
it would take them to rebuild 3 to
doing it
5
more
years, so they would already have
chunkier.
gotten all their money from the rest of the United States to rebuild themselves before they decide to go off on their own.
If it were me, I would have strings attached to that money just to make sure. I'd be like, if you take our money, if you take our federal money, you're not allowed to break away from the U.S. Do you understand? Because you're going to take our federal
Or if you
money.
do in the next 10 years, you have to pay it back or something.
Yeah, you got to pay it back. I mean, anybody else would do that, right? If you got a loan from anybody, they'd be like, yeah, you can't just default on this. You have to pay it back. Right?
Vassen says,
So you have to stay with the country for at least another 10 to 15 years or however long it's going
I
to
don't
take.
think this is going to go anywhere. The other times it
It's not
didn't go
gonna go
anywhere. It's just stupid. But it's funny to me though, like all these celebrities and stuff are signing it because they want to stay there because they already have their houses and they're well off there. If the studios leave LA, all their multi-million-dollar houses are going to be worth what they're worth now, and they're never going to be able to get their money for them.
No,
they need time to make sure they sell off their houses that are left, so that they can go someplace else, so that they're not stuck with decreasing property values and things like that.
Yeah, but I think it's inevitable. I think the fires actually the reason they're freaking out so much now is because you're at a fork in the road where you're already. I mean, this is coming from that Film Take article, but they said Disney's 2024 slate of.
All right, I gotta end the stream
only has
anyway. All right, guys, like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, all that great stuff. I hope we can see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have an awesome day and all that great stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow, most likely. And then with that said, have a great night. And keep safe and keep practicing. All right, have a great night, guys. Keep safe. All right, I'm out. And also, Cared, if you're still having trouble, I'll just send you the link. So you gotta go to Discord and send me a message.
Morgan R said later Artextric.
All right,
Right,
later.
says G and everyone.
Bye-bye. There you guys.